Yeah, it should be a banger here. I think this is my favorite matchup of the tournament so far, and the map veto itself, very interesting. GE picking that pro, not surprising to me, but LEV going to that fracture. Another series where we're seeing, in my opinion, quite an unconfident fracture pick here. LEV weren't looking amazing on it, playing a very strange composition. GE could take this in too with this map veto.
Oh, okay. I like what you're putting down here, Mini. I think for me, it's interesting that Lois was floated when we consider that being LEV's insta-ban all throughout their time in Americas here. I think as well for GE, I'm intrigued to see what they pull out, man. The amount of comp changes that they have from week to week to week. Let's see what they're cooking.
Now, a lot of us are talking about the two coaching styles from Owner and Frost, the anti-stratter and the guy who always has set strats. But Mini, what do you make of that? Is that really the thing that we should be looking at here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for LEV, it's how much time have they had to go away and add some layer to their set strats, because over time, they usually get a little bit readable. Sometimes I can watch a VOD from a month ago and they're still doing a lot of the same stuff. So have they been able to change some of that stuff? Because Pat and Frost, every time I hear the comms, Pat is immediately saying stuff. Like, it looks like he is part of that anti-strat system, making a lot of those reads. So I absolutely think that is the narrative strategically for this game today.
And Billy, earlier you were talking about GE's style here. The thing is, they often boast that they have multiple comps per map prepared. Do you think that's a real thing and that's enough to take on LEV?
Let's see if they can do it on the global stage. That's what I'm saying. In a regular season, when you have week to week, 100% do your thing. Anti-strat specific compositions for specific teams on certain maps. But coming into this stage where you're playing back-to-back days, it's a completely different game. I will be very impressed if they're able to have that kind of turnaround at a global tournament.
Yeah, let's see what agents they will be bringing out today. But whatever the case for either team, we can see a new legacy being developed from this very moment.
Yeah, I think we're talking about agent select. I think that it's going to be very similar for Global. They're very confident on this map of Pro, and they've been playing the Killjoy, just a very kind of standard composition. On the left side, the double Judas in the chamber. That is their bread and butter. Starting on the defense side, that is where it's going to be a little bit stronger with that chamber getting some picks.
Yeah, and we're going to see a Neon head-to-head here on both sides. An agent that we said that we potentially expect to see a bit of a decline on, but I guess with it being Pearl, this is okay. This is all good. I think Neon being on that operator, especially starting on this defense, we talk about what do Global Esports actually have to be able to isolate that weapon out of place when you're considering the utility. Not having a Sova in there, having to opt for the fade. I'm expecting to see Neon propped up on B long a lot of the time here.
Yeah, I agree with that too. The fade isn't the best at dealing with that B long control. The chamber can avoid some of those prowlers and eyes. So big question for me, Global Esports on this attack side, how do they deal with Neon's chamber?
Yeah, that is definitely the question of today. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out, but whatever it is, the fans are absolutely excited to see these two teams go head-to-head. All right, to take us through this electric face-off, we got Mitchman and Tombiz.
Thank you, Victoria. An electric face-off indeed, Tom. Certainly a lot to be excited about, but I gotta say the biggest surprise, we're getting Neon on both sides. We're used to seeing that, but things have changed here at Masters, but evidently not in this matchup.
Yeah, clearly both teams feeling comfortable still running the Neon. Of course, a lot of those rotations will be a little bit slower. The jumping might not be quite as much, and I don't think you're gonna see shotguns there quite as often, but we'll get to see if it's going to work out for both of these squads.
That we will, and we'll get to see it as we get into the game. Let's kick off Leviathan versus GE. Before we start, though, London, are you ready? Certainly feels like they are. Let's see if our teams are as well. GE to mount the attack, and already numbers towards B for both teams.
Immediate fight for those orbs, of course. We expect to see that quite often with the Phoenix in play, but patiently waiting. 3 players on this side, that double duelist that will be spoken about a lot throughout this series. Sato waiting on that cross.
Concealment.
With King alongside him. They're just going to run this straight in onto the fight. Yudoton to start, and Autumn there alongside him. In fact, it's going swimmingly for the side of GE. All 3 players taken out and the rotation quite far away.
Yeah, nice attempt to flash back by Sato, but he gets shut down. GE flooding the site, and now blows in Neon. Having a fight back from spawn. The spike already ticking. They have no notion where these attackers can be. The reveal will help for a moment. C1, C2, but then all of the remaining Leviathan players fall to give GE a 1-0 start here on Pearl.
Yeah, and I do. I want to go back to something that was touched on by the desk as well when building into this matchup, where it's like, I think at the beginning of the day, you were asking me who was favored in this matchup. I'd slightly give it over to Leviathan. I think they've been a very strong squad, almost taking down G2 in Americas the second time around. But the fact is, after the veto, I'd now maybe go the other way. I think the fact that obviously G floated Fracture was almost like a ball to a red flag, but I think this first map also favors GE, so it really could be an opportunity for them to 2-0.
Pacific's number 3 certainly seems to have a leg up, not just in the veto, but even starting this map. That said, Leviathan, they've pushed up A as 4. Found the solo player, Crystal, who was supposed to contain. And as a result, there's not really much of a choice but to finish this B hit. The good thing is, though, nobody is here. The site wide open. GE will have themselves a post plan. And now those pistols, with GE having the option to play a bit further back, hold those chokes, those pistols are going to find it very difficult to find value.
And Neon becomes the major danger in this moment, or maybe not. Blow's already finding one, making this seem dangerous. Patman under pressure as well. The shot's not quite landing, but his teammates are there to support. Even still, it comes down to one. Yudotan to try and save them from around. This should have been easy. His opponent's above him, and the Classic can't quite close him out. Any other gun would have denied the Red Bull clutch, but Yudotan just about keeps them alive.
But that's it, Tom. Staying alive in a round that should have been an opportunity to thrive. A Red Bull clutch needed, a 1v2, and a well-placed shot from that headhunter or right-click landing would have changed the story of the start of this map entirely. GE with a lifeline early on. They'll hold on to their lead. But for Leviathan, that tells them that when it comes to pound-for-pound brawls, they might be in with a chance.
Well, yeah, look at the purchase that comes up. You normally expect a little bit more from a bonus round. It's the 3 rifles invested into 2 pistols have to be brought through, so it definitely gives the defenders a great opportunity. And with already aggressive ground picked up on the B site, they can start to gamble back. They're pushing in towards Art, though, and those fights haven't gone their way. It's Crystal to pick up 2 and leave. Blows the lone defender. His teammate sprinting to try and save him, but there is no one to be saved. In fact, the only thing that can be saved, Mitch, is those guns. They have to bow out.
What a crazy switch up between the rounds, Tom. The last one, it looks like GE could be in trouble. They're getting wrecked by pistols, and granted, Lev had a very good eco strat, pushing one side of the map as 4, and then playing the retake together, using that neon wall to get out, to make the elevation not as much of an issue when you've got players down below. I loved it. And then they get run down. In this round, Crystal's got 2. He's out looking for more, farming up those orbs, and he might have a chance to take another weapon out of the hands of these Lev players. He'll clear the spawn. I think he'll have enough time to walk right into this fight. Neon only needs to land 1 shot, and there it is. It's a headshot, clean as can be. You'd think at this point those weapons would be held onto, and it looks like they will.
A very good start. I think also the people may be thinking Neon, and I mean the agent,
yes,
is dead, might start to question things with the start that Yudotan has had. Just sliding into the angle and absolutely doming. But that was Crystal's round. A huge couple of openers for him in that moment, and putting them into a 3-0 start. Of course, this is their map choice, but I think that is the big talking point, is we're going to look at both these squads and go, okay, what have they fixed on Fracture? Because it's not a particularly good map for either of them. And if we can see GE get off to a strong start on their own choice, which they are favored on, it almost feels like a 50-50 second map. This, though, is an aggressive hold, but so much information already found out by this attack. A lot of utility being put into play, but Spike has managed to do well.
Have they done enough, though? Sato still needs to get out of there, just about falls back to the B side. Okay, safe as can be. It was a little spooky at the start. Obviously, Chamber can get out for free once challenged, but not revealed behind the wall. And it looked like we could have had a much worse fight on their hands. Leviathan keeping trades like this early on is perfect, keeping control of the rifle, and now the Death Squad goes looking for a victim and push out on mid. Gonna give them an early flank on this A play, but not an opportunity to catch any kills just yet.
turret will deny any push up. And I actually quite like this. I was going to question whether they'll use the run it back in this round. And that just allows them to clear the site, at least mostly for free. The defenders have already gone for the swing back through. Of course, for Neon, he's now out of headhunter bullets, so his danger should be reduced. It should be reduced, but he still manages to land one with the classic. The low buy rounds are seeming quite damaging for the side of GE, but when you win the last buy round so clean, it doesn't matter as much.
Well, that's it. They're doing a really good job in the tough rounds, but a much more difficult job in what should be easier, more of a level playing field. For Leviathan, that's the one thing that the takeaway so far is those eco rounds have been very well structured. Even here, the drone going out, you know that that's going to draw a lot of eyes, probably from the Phoenix as well, but it's combined with that art re-aggression. So everybody's looking towards the spawn, and you can overwhelm with the numbers. Worked out for a couple of kills, but Leviathan chipping away isn't going to work as GE find a 4-0 lead, and the shots don't land right away for Chamber, who is Neon. Let's see how GE handle this.
Happy can blood, just kill. Let's take art, connect to Salva, Come kill, you have flash?
Spike planted.
No flash, no. He's droning.
Enemy tags.
Guys, one more, Salva boy. We fight together. Kill him. Let's fight together, Salva. Come. Yeah. Guys, guys. I'm not watching back.
Guys, watch
back. Yes, okay. Can you talk
play with you, you do.
You die OT for you.
You die, watch behind you, okay?
They probably saved the off, boys.
You are divided.
City, Sova. Aston.
I think they're right. It might just have to be the saving of that operator. Bring it through into the next round, and for GE, this is a worldie of a start. And that's the thing, like, you play these slower rounds, you give players like Neon an opportunity to try and catch somebody. You go for these fast-paced hits into the A side like that, and they have to react fast enough to try and deny you. 5-0 start on the attack side for GE. They are flying.
The question is, when do we see a timeout now? I mean, it's apparent that when it comes to buy rounds, GE are the ones that are really holding the reins with both hands, and they are holding on tightly. Leviathan need to wrestle control away from them, and you're dead right. Timer paused, and I assume that's going to be Leviathan taking a moment to reassess the game plan so far. This is, of course, GE's map pick, so it's not the end of the world for the series overall, but like you said, Tom, with how this veto has panned out, GE having this strong of a start is definitely worrying, because then you don't feel like Fracture's going to be an easy win.
Yeah, I think as well, when you have those youngsters on your side, like we're talking of a team that's like 18, 19-year-olds, and then the IGL being an old 24, it kind of does feel like you need to stem the bleeding earlier, because they are just getting used to this stage, getting used to being at these internationals. And of course, for Neon, that Coinbase win condition, a man that has been talked about an awful lot. I'm sure you could take that across pretty much any member of this squad of young stars, but it has been a slow start for the entirety of the team. Sato as well, 1-5, someone who has lit the world on fire since being in this roster. And I think for Owner, this is the moment to go, okay, maybe it's not even about like strategy or what our opponents are doing. It's more so, okay, we're not even hitting our shots at the moment.
Well, that's true, and I think not to zoom in too much on Neon, but that has been an issue for him. You see some of these moments where he's usually so reliable. He'll go a couple rounds without a kill, but when they come to his side of the map, he farms, and that's not been the case so far. A couple of missed shots, pressure applied by GE, and there hasn't been a response from Leviathan. That should all change now as the pause concludes. The barriers go up once more, and hopefully we see a better face from Leviathan. Still with a full buy, there will be a shotgun in play on Spikeson. The bookie still reliable even with the nerfs, and well, Neon is the one drawing my eye, but he's on the other side of the map. GE are putting pressure on B, at least to start.
Immediately lockdown utilized King, hoping that maybe some stray shots can connect, but just look at the spike. They are not committed to this B side just yet. I'd maybe even trying to catch out some of the rotations. In fact, they're trying to pincer in on them from behind, catch them where they know they've pushed. A good stun, though, will at least slow things down a little bit. The overdrive used to try and just pad some of that damage, but even still, that opening kill has gone in the other direction. However, Spikeson has managed a trade.
It's this pressure on the Crystal. It has to go the way of Leviathan. So they had that advantage, at least avoiding it. No punish could be fine. But Crystal now has the option to take that space a little bit later, heard the Neon running away, knows the B side is now much more open, but there's going to be a fake from Autumn attempting to mislead this defensive side, and it has worked perfectly. He hasn't even made noise just yet, clearing the A site completely. The Spike still doesn't know which site would be the easier to hit, but finally settled on B, and Autumn is going to go and join them. If he can slip away, it gets a kill as well. GE with a big leg up now.
Well, yeah, that was doubt from Autumn. You saw his teammates stop because they go, well, there's actually no one on A.
They're not here, they're not there.
Here, so they must be somewhere else. And Autumn is now just the ultimate backstab, looking to try and group up. Crystal has taken so much space already, and Sato is completely unaware. They are playing them like a fiddle. A team known for these set strats, these setups, even in their retakes, are not being allowed to do so because GE are just playing with their minds, and they will get to save none of those weapons. 6-0. This is beautiful stuff from GE.
I would have rather see anybody on GE ace that round if I was in Leviathan's coach booth. You call a timeout, and the game plan is where you get diffed. The pressure put on towards the double doors gets Neon to walk up in art. You lose your chamber, you lose that hold. What did we just talk about? He's going to be the one containing one side of a map and showing up when he gets challenged, and instead his sight falls and it ends up being used as a ruse. GE playing a better game, plain and simple, and Leviathan falling miles behind, now even facing an eco as well, or at least a low buy. There are some pieces here. Some less now.
Yeah. Oh, dear Lord.
Less now.
The unit on Neon when it's been needed, which hasn't been the whole time, but he is 10-1 right now. Utterly dominating. Well, it's at least not going to be flawless. That's about all that you can hope for on the GE side. And just look at the way they fall back as well. You wouldn't have even been too mad at Javi for sort of going for the swing there, trying to take an extra kill. Like, look at the current scoreline, look at how your team is. But he doesn't. He doesn't risk it.
There's always elements of confidence that have to be in play, but I love seeing a team that's ahead playing like they're behind. That's exactly why you can see players sometimes having chances pulled out of thin air, and a few more shots in the mag, and that could have been the round. But King, 5 HP now. He surely has to go for the save. A nice try, but I don't
died
think...
to the blaze.
yeah, exactly. It's not quite enough to put the win back in Leviathan's sails just yet.
He's trying to pull them back in. I like it. They're just throwing a piece or two of utility out to try and do damage, but I think we are well past the point of damage. The credits booming. You're going to have multiple players buying back up with max credits on the side of GE. And it feels like for Leviathan, they need that swing round. They need something to enlighten the flame of this squad, because that's what we've talked about when watching them in Americas, is that flair, that level of aggression, individual brilliance. I think Neon and Sato especially have been highlighted a lot for the fact they could take over rounds. Right now, they are being utterly diffed.
Bro, he turned from the Phoenix Flash before he even... Before he even knew it was coming, he turned from the Phoenix Flash. If you're Leviathan right now, every single thing you do, you feel like your comms are being leaked to GE. Like, they know they're ahead of the play every time. They're pushing the right spot, they're pulling the right rotations, and they're punishing every mistake. This attack side looking clean, and that's the orb Autumn was looking for in that last fight of the previous round. He's now got the run it back online again, making what has been an easy attack side that much easier in this round.
Full rotation back across the map. Now there is an implant in play. Neon has pushed out mid. But instead, it seems like they found the gap again. There's only one player towards this A side of the map. Blows just having to sit all the way back, and he's calling for those rotations. You can see it immediately. They know that this is going to have some direction to it. The run it back, clearing out everything. Only the back of the site left unchecked, and there's nobody in it anyway. A post plant guaranteed, but a player following it up. Good drone, though. They've at least spotted it, but Yunatan is not falling back. He wants to fight this.
It looks like he's having fun as well, but now the ults from Leviathan end up playing against them. Autumn's taking him twice in a number of seconds in a 3v3 once again, but all hope is not lost for Leviathan just yet. They still have 3 to fight. They still have the all posted, the head under to fall back to. And the advantage now in their hands. A chance to push this further with just one standing in their way, and not for long.
They desperately needed that. Desperately needed to get that round on the board. And even just looking at the HP, look how close it was. 8 HP, 9 HP for Neon and Blows. Well, they finally managed to come out of one of them alive. The combo of 7 in a row has been broken, but of course, and this isn't going to blow anybody's mind, there's plenty of credits available for GE to buy back into this one. The good thing, though, is in terms of the ult economy, GE actually don't have too much to play with. They used some of them in the last couple of rounds, whereas that Hunter's Fury and Tour de Force could still be used.
Well, it looks like mid-fight is the game plan for Leviathan, wasting no time. They're already up in top mid, looking for the fight on the Crystal, who gets dropped by the Hunter's Fury. But it ends up being an immediate trade and still pushing up Asado. Headshot immediately delivered, and he will be bailing out of there, taking a little heal from his wall as he goes. Going up. But all aggression sent the other way by GE, at least to start this round.
Yeah, GE have done well to soak up that pressure. I think there's a very real chance they come out of that with a much bigger deficit. But I like the fact that Leviathan are also not just shying away from these fights, considering the scoreline. Sato, of course, has been able to heal up a little bit. Middleton is going to try and fight this. The flash, it's good, but even again, it's just an immediate trade. Patman's so quick with it. And they're still putting pressure on other parts of the map. King, oh, he knows. He knows there's a man around this corner. He was reloading. That's the man advantage in favor of Leviathan. And now for the remaining members of GE, they have to go on a long rotation back towards the B site.
I've seen this as well. You lose your player A main. GE are keen to put some pressure, but they don't run straight into the site. You're still seeing Leviathan have players across the map, as you said, on double doors where King found that kill, and Neon stood up here in heaven. Even with the smoke, there's an angle, and the shot lands clean as can be. Patman, man who was doubted, and I'll doubt him again. This 1v3 looking to be near impossible now that Leviathan have woken up. It will be on his shoulders to put them back to sleep.
And Neon's patient. Doesn't go swinging before his teammates arrive. They were waiting for the dart to come back online, and now they know exactly where their opponent is. He's even going to get picked up by it as well. That'll make it all too easy. I said it, that one round just seems to have immediately flicked the switch. You see how confident that they actually played in those moments. And that's more of what we expect to see from this squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Just calming the nerves after what was a really rough start to the half. But there's still time for this to go back in their favor. Look, a 7-5 coming out of here. A damn sight better than what it looked like. And the most important thing for me, Tom, is from that first round win, you can see Leviathan on their feet. The energy's not gone anywhere. They're not counting themselves out of this.
We saw the content piece earlier with Jem. Sato said he's gone in for that #1. I think, you know, it's always going to be difficult to beat Yetaje. It's one thing he definitely does better than anyone else. And again, we're going to have this early contact. Operator setup. King's done well. The spam finding Autumn. He has been a nuisance for them so far. But there is a second layer as well. That looked dead on, but it didn't land.
He mustn't have been fully planted, his feet on the ground at that point. Yudotan in danger as King steps through the utility. Finds himself one, but it starts to crumble. The numbers right back to level. Spikes in so slow and patient.
You should run.
Maybe a little bit too slow now. The lockdown comes into play. He'll have to challenge this very early indeed. And I think the play is going to have to be concede the site. Let that clock run down a little bit further and retake after.
I like this from Patman. You think that maybe they won't be this close, and because of that, he's reclaimed the space. Immediate trade, and another one from Spikezine. It's going to come down to 1v1. Crystal just waiting patiently, expects his opponent to swing, already gets it to half, but it's Crystal once again. They're not going to allow their opponents to bring this back to 5, as he'll take it 8-2.
It was a tough start to this map for Crystal. Round 2, he got ran down by a classic and taken down, but I think immediately after that it was a 2K. He started to look confident, and now he's had 2 big rounds under his belt. Hammering Leviathan into the dirt, 8-2 now. And a big gap between these teams. The half, though, not settled just yet. Ults start to come online in favor of Leviathan. It made a difference last time, albeit that Sato ended up throwing his life away with the ult. G punished it right away.
Oh, contact play, but look. G, we spoke about this, the Death spoke about it. It is the team with the set plays versus the team with the counters. They're just waiting it out, but Neon doesn't go anywhere. He keeps that space. Yudaton gone. And a man advantage for Leviathan once again.
A much more passive stance as well. Right afterwards, King's being spotted, immediately just falls back. Looking for that contact, but you've only seen one player. It's not going to get the rotates out of you just yet. GE close in the distance. Prowler, he'll draw the rotate in from Spike Scene, but he is gone. Nice shot from Patman. Great stun as well. Followed up. That's utility from Javi, finding a huge mark in this round. And a 3v4 retake, but the numbers, they could be equalized here, but the ult from OMEN has saved the day. Neon's left alone, and it's not a pretty situation.
He's got a bad choice. No way he was ever getting back into that round. And again, you just see some of the individual brilliance and flair from these GE players. It's something that I love the fact that we're hearing it from Patman himself in those interviews, that when you go back to some of the moments in the last team, he had to be more supplementary in HyperX. He had to help others. He had to almost be the safety net to what is the manic craziness. Now in this team, he can be more aggressive. He can take more space. He can almost be that superstar when they need him. And this round, it was just him walking in, hitting a crazy shot and getting the opener into the site for Neon. Oh, okay. That's what we expect to see. Unfortunately, too late in the round, and he won't be able to hold on to the gun. GE are not going to care about the personnel losses. They can comfortably buy back up, whereas that operator, okay, there's a tour de force, but it won't be an operator alongside it.
At least a tour de force and a rifle drop to a teammate. It's something, but a silver lining on a very gray cloud at the moment. 1 round left to play, and double digits possible for GE at the halftime. Leviathan certainly come in here with a high bar. After that performance in Americas, they could be coming out as #1.
They very nearly did.
A pistol round could have swung it, but now it seems like they've fallen so far behind what seemed to be playoffs that they were destined for.
Well, GE rising to the occasion. No doubt about that. Neon already forced back.
You are divided.
It definitely seems like they have caused him a lot of issues throughout this game, not just able to sit on these aggressive angles and find players. Sado, again, only going to get one. The trading from GE has been perfect, and every time it seems like he's posted on an aggro angle, there is somebody just ready to put utility into his face, making that superstar look null and void. And Yudaton, he wanted to try and catch him before he could flee. In fact, they're all getting aggressive, pushing into the hands of Neon and leaving it all to Autumn. This round will be claimed by Leviathan, but they are still very, very far behind.
Oh, there is a lot of work to do when it comes to the second half, but we saw some sparks towards the end of this one, some decent rounds from Leviathan. But GE with a big lead at halftime. We'll see if Leviathan can bounce back after the break. He's hunting down that title!
The time to write the next chapter in the esports history books is finally here.
And they fold it in his hands yet again! He steps up to the plate, and he can knock this one out of the park! Now they shall be engraved alongside the greats!
I'm addicted to the
Well, it has been a tough half for Leviathan, but now they move to the attack side. You have to hope that something's going to change, Tom. This veto from the desk from you as well. It seems like people are leaning it heavily in GE's favor, and after this strong of a start, I think it's time to start worrying for Leviathan in this series.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, especially with Fracture being such an unknown. I will say, obviously, with it being left open, we have the expectation that GE will have changed stuff, but there can be the same expectation on the other side for them to have picked it. So it might not be a death sentence, it's just worrying, because you're basically going to be seeing the first officials of those two teams making their changes in the next, and if they've got it wrong, that could be a huge problem. For now, at least, though, a pistol round a necessity. And the defensive side, very, very proactive. Of course, there is a trap holding that line. So the information will be garnered. And the problem on the other side is Crystal is going to have to delay an awful long time before his teammates can arrive.
Utility blocking off R. It's only going to be a nano, and I don't think Spike Scene could get straight through it. But it won't buy that much time. A grab well to delay a little bit longer as the flank comes in. But take a look at the position of King here. Realizing they've pushed B, he's going to now start to thread the needle behind as well and try to make problems for these defenders in spawn.
Spike planted.
And the attackers now need to realize that there are definitely players coming in from behind, but they're able to clear everything out. Art has been spotted. They know the two avenues in which they're being pushed, but the timing might not go their way. Crystal already managing to clear out one, and they are just on that defusal already to half. The next time it's tapped might be their undoing. They're just defusing it in front of their nose. They need to get in there, and they're not fast enough! It's an immediate defusal and a bit of a blip from Leviathan at a time when they really didn't need that.
I think King was waiting for the signal to go on that flank, and it just didn't come in on time. GE's pace caught them off guard, flooding straight back in. Crystal finding two that quickly, got rid of the players who were supposed to stop them from getting near that spike, and then everyone else is too far away from the play. It's a disaster for Leviathan. This pistol could have given them a leg up, but now they are so far behind. And the climb back steep and near impossible if GE keep this up. Double digits found. An aggression again coming in from the defensive side, this time running into all of the Leviathan players for one. And it's a bloodbath with barely any spilled on GE's side.
Oh, they've got to be over the moon. Like, a lot of the time we'll talk about the risks of pushing, but you could just see the confidence that this team is playing with. Spike under their control, and wow. The best case for King is he drops a gun. That's the absolute best case, but they are now starting to realize, well, that was probably one of the worst case, because now you have a flawless round and you have a run it back going into the next one for Autumn, who's also been having a fantastic series. I want to say as well, he's someone I'm very happy to see back on the international stage. I remember him in FPX being one of my favorite players to watch on that squad. Moving over to GE seemed like a wonderful pickup, and it has been.
It's fair to say, again, taking the consideration of how close that final was for Leviathan over in Americas. Then coming in here, the questions that float around about GE.
Yeah. Do we just give the HyperX the trophy now?
Maybe we need to.
if this is the region diff, I think we're in trouble. Nonetheless, for Leviathan, we need to see a little bit more. Let's listen in.
¿Cómo quieres ganar?
Softening, fake molly.
Vamos. Eu depois de ter ganhado a Blauta.
Tá, posso voltar a dronar, Bruno. Vou voltar a dronar, velho. Olha esse pack de tá? Vamos finalizar pra ver porque eles reclinaram, tá ligado?
Vamos redominar grafite então?
Eu vou dronar, eu vou voltar pra ver pegar spike, tá? Vou ter que ir pelo long. Podemos voltar pra uma split rua se você quiser. Tá, então. Eu vou ter que ir pelo long. Não tá muito longo aqui. Nada longear, Bruno.
Tá. Nada grafite também. Só voltamos já? Voltar. Vamos fazer pressão, tá?
Vamos fazer pressão, tá?
Dominar. Vou fazer a pressão. Devagar.
Well, so far, GE have had the right read. They've had the players in the right place. So this time, Leviathan throw in a little bit of a fake. Even find Patman to start it off. And now look to switch to the other direction. Cutting off that entire middle of the map with the Killjoy utility down. Leaves Javi in a spot where his back is open. So he pushes forward. Finds one. But now he's surrounded.
He's got a teammate, though. Yudotan has managed to move to the back of the site. They're going to try and cover each other off, but there is that backstab from Neon, and they clear Yudotan at the same time. Solid work from Leviathan.
Planted.
For Autumn, even saving the gun, Patman a little bit low when it comes to the credits. He does have his ult to play with, but wasting it versus 3, it would be a confidence round if he could take it, but I think the realization is in this case, it's not worth the gamble.
It's for the greater good, absolutely. Autumn going to save means Leviathan push up to 4. And this has to be the start of something special to put that win back in their sails. You know, the funny thing is for GE, we say, like, they've had the right read, they've been in the right place, both halves played excellently. But for Leviathan, here they throw the fake in and still end up running into numbers. So GE still get those rotates to be in time, still fight them in mid. It's really impressive seeing GE's understanding of what their opponents are aiming to do. More often than not, they're ahead of the play, and that's a big problem for LEV to deal with.
I think the one layer that was nice was having that extra push through from Neon, like just from behind. I think if they all go in the other direction through mid, there's a very good chance they end up losing that round, but that backstab onto Harvey, it also just put Yudotan in a really awkward position. 11-4. Even just getting a few rounds here for the Americas #2 might be enough to just build up that confidence a little bit, show some of that flair. I think getting back into the match, I'm going to need quite a few more before I start to believe in that.
Without a doubt, the gap is far too big. Even a lucky round can push GE across the line to at least an OT. It seems like LEV spreading the net early, looking to punish some aggression. Pressure on A, waiting on B long, waiting outside mid, but nothing comes in when they expect it to. And as soon as they abandon the spots, then GE push up. Look at Yudotan's position right now. He's taken full B main control, just as they left it. And that means now that the stack up is on A, and that's exactly where Leviathan are heading towards.
Come on, let's go! Joke's over! You're dead!
We're going to get a Phoenix fight off, but already so much damage done to that ult, and eventually Autumn is going to clear. Holding them back for now, but there were already 3 players looking to make their way throughout. The problem that there is they almost have to go A or go all the way back around the map. And it's that deep position that's being held by Yudotan, which could be a problem if they do. The pick from Neon, though, makes things interesting. 30 seconds left. They are committed to this A site now. And with no rotation seen, that will mean that GE can gamble 3 players here as well.
They've got to go soon. There's a good chance someone's already pushing behind them in A main. Straight into A is the only way for Leviathan. Try to force this out of the hands of their opponents. Crystal does very well. It's a triple for Crystal before he falls. And so the man on the other side of the map, Yudotan, has a chance, but blows with the perfect reposition. Hasn't been spotted, but will be dropped. Neon versus Neon, I suppose. Yudotan taps the spike and tries to bait his opponent into the fight, lands a shot, leaves him on a sliver. But Neon's still alive on the other side, still drawing breath, but no longer. GE with no mercy, 12-4.
Oh God, we've been calling him Yudotan the whole game. We might have to change it to Himdotan. Like, the guy has just taken over. Like, he's been the entry for the majority of the game. We've seen him play impressively, but then just the reaction shot, and then the fact is, Neon in that moment TP'd away. He hit him in the 140. Like, the headshot was so fast that even the TP wasn't quick enough to get away from it. This is one of the best looks we've seen from Global Esports. A team that had a curse against them about making it to a playoffs. Now on the international stage, well, they're beginning to look like maybe favorites to make it to the playoffs in London. They have been so impressive. And a pace change coming through. A more brute force strategy. And just look at the defense. They are on the complete wrong side of the map. You've said it. They've had the good read almost every time, Mitch. This is one of the first times they were wrong.
It's an exception, but Crystal's been so reliable when they push his site. This time they're playing it more passive, knowing that they've got that lockdown to work with to fall back on. Hunter's Fury going to be thrown through here, and that causes an issue. Lockdown gone. An aggression from Leviathan punishes what should have been the Flood on the back of it, but Autumn has found another. Crystal, once again, shows up, and GE, they continue their push towards the site. Their push towards a 1-0 advantage. Shock darts could do a lot here. Javi so low, but they've made it to the spike, and now the tap comes in. Leviathan having to swing in under pressure. King finds one, but they don't have their diffuser!
Defenders win.
This was his map from start to finish, and GE pocketed with ease.
Absolute destruction. And it's crazy what we've just witnessed. We expected this to be a close match, a close series. It was obliteration. Let's see if things change after the break.
Huge comp changes it looks like so far. Global going with Waylay Phoenix Chamber, almost giving LEV a little bit of a taste of their own medicine. I love that style. I hope that LEV go for the set. Nope, they don't.
Nope, they don't. What is King hovering actually? We can't quite see it yet. I think he was playing the breach though previously, so hopefully that's it's gonna be on the guts. We got your favorite Masters London Mini. How do you feel?
I wish LEV just played GE's comp right here. Neon is one of the best chambers of the event. They clearly understand how to do it on the ascent. Like Pearl, it didn't look amazing there. Breach. Get this agent out of the game. It's not very good, in my opinion. I think it's going to be quite easy for... I think Global Esports with this composition, I think they have the advantage here fully. As long as they're not walking into these breach stuns, I think they're going to be hugely favored, and I'm very curious about this chamber.
Yeah, and LEV obviously sticking with the same composition that they were running back in America. So I just know for sure Frost is sitting in that coaching booth, rubbing his hands at that.
Now, we didn't get to talk about predictions at the top of this match. You guys want to share what it was?
Yeah, I had LEV winning this game.
Okay.
Not anymore.
How about you, Billy? I think we both had LEV winning this game. I had LEV as the dark horse for me personally coming into this event. I am hoping that it is just a bit of first game nerves that they're experiencing going up on that stage when we consider the new players at a global event. So yeah, let's hope that they can be able to bring it back to at least go to a third map. I want to see a third map series.
I would love to see a third map, but I think GE is fighting. What do you think, Tom and Mitch?
Oh, they weren't fighting in that first map. They were slaying every given opportunity taken, and some with ease. But for GE, that was just the start of the series. Now they have to convert Fracture, their opponent's map pick, and you heard it from Owner. The boys were a bit nervous. It's a young team down on that stage, but we've seen these flip-flops from one-sided maps. Great success in the next. The defensive Fracture is where Leviathan will be tested.
I don't know what they expected coming in. I don't know if they expected a Pac-Man Waylay, but I'm excited to see it. Never mind, it's gone. Immediately, Sato has picked him out of the sky. They're going to go running back, but they've been locked in. Spike Zine is watching from behind. Sato already with a much better start to this map than what we saw on the last. His attack side having to run all the way back, maybe trying to bait them into the hands of Autumn, who's just holding on to this space. Nothing being spotted, but that backstab would need to be incredibly impressive if it ends up as a backstab. Is he going to spot out that there's no one here and they're going to go back and plant on A?
I think that's exactly what was happening. They left him behind so he could hear the rotates if they started to flee the site. The spike will go back in that direction. This was what worked for GE on the last map. They were selling fakes so well,
Sato's
always
watching.
Enticing Leviathan in. Crystal's chance to strike. He had such an impressive map previously. They'll at least get one out of this. Good stun to shut him down, but a plant and a 2v4, it's better than it looked like it would be.
It's still incredibly difficult. Lev decided to just group up, play it together. The stun catches Harvey, but he will be better. Will be good to go. As they look to try and round this corner, will they check these more deep angles? They will, and it's Sato once again. A great round from him individually, and now Autumn has to try and take over versus 4 players. Good flash! It caught almost everybody, but 13 health. Time ticking against him. And eventually he's going to need to swing out and get one of these kills. He gets absolutely nothing. A pistol round from Sato, even going to get the orb. And that will be Lev. 101.
Yeah, that will be Lev in the lead for the first time in this series. And what a way to do it as well for Sato, picking up a 4K focus there, very much on Pac-Man, playing that Waylay. A bit of a surprise element, certainly for
100%.
Leviathan. But the Waylay on the other side is the one opening up this map. A strong start to the defense for Leviathan. They get sold a fake, but react perfectly, punish on that side of the map. And the opening picks were sublime. Now, they get their reward. It's going to be a decent buy into this round. You know, for GE, win condition, or, well, not even win condition, but success condition, is just a couple of kills. It will make it somewhat costly for Leviathan if they can meet that goal. But as you can see, they're not very well armed.
I think the other side of it for GE is just orb collection.
Yeah, with a Phoenix always.
I'm going to try and get as many of them as you can. They were initially challenging for that A main control, but you can see the defenders are doing exactly the same thing. Be it to build up their own ultimates, with Sato only being one away after he claims this orb, or just to make sure, as you sort of said, don't allow that Phoenix to build up anywhere near as much. For now, though, tentative in their play. Everybody's gained at least a little, but the fights will seem quite one-sided when they come to blows.
Well, if you're at least trading out those orbs, finding them early, that's fine. GE, as you said, steps closer to the Phoenix ult, but this is where things should take a turn for the worse for GE. They've had good impact to start the round. They've got their orbs. They've even got a kill. The plant being attempted, but pushed back by salvos. Sight taken. It's definitely a bit spooky, but Leviathan have the upper hand in almost every fight. And now they've got the numbers.
Yeah, they cleared the top site, and then anybody trying to claim any weaponry is being picked off as they go. Another 1v4 being attempted, and it will not come through. A great start this time from Leviathan. And I think it is very important. Like, sure, it can happen. You're on your opponent's map choice, but we looked at this map of Fracture and went, this is not one of your greatest picks. It feels like you picked it as a counter to your opponents because they were not good on it either. But with the start that they've had, now we get into the main part of the match. The first purchase coming up for GE, and what will still be a pretty decent buy coming up for Leviathan, given the circumstances.
Well, yeah, 4 players carrying those weapons through. I think they only lost a Stinger. Be pretty happy with that on the defensive side, coming through with a convergence path as well with that strong start. Orb was given over to King, so obviously some value put towards that Rolling Thunder in the minds of Leviathan, and you can see early aggression is already lined up. They popped the flash, and that's not even going to deter them as the reveal went up behind it. Leviathan keep pushing. It's a full south side crunch to start the opening pick, and they get out scot-free. Crystal and hold the line on the other side, though. The Leviathan will be forced back in a 4v2. A nice attempt to make use of those weaker weapons, but GE seemed more than ready for that pressure.
It seemed like maybe they thought the convergence path had hit more people. I think it maybe only caught the one, or by the time they got there, it worn off, but it meant that there were spams going through those smokes, and GE, again, something they did well in the previous map was thrive under the pressure of what is an aggressive defense. Of course, this round expectation's still low. They didn't have the Vandals, they didn't have the Phantoms, no Operator just yet. The question becomes, how much damage can the remaining couple of players do? And I wonder if this will just become trying to catch them on the exit.
Yeah, that is probably where the most value sits. As time takes on, it becomes more apparent, and that is the play. Ollie towards main, I like this idea, keeping them locked in. Leon wants to make this as costly as possible, but as they run in through it, he gets a shot on them. And Crystal already falling. Decent bit of damage done. I think that is going to be where it ends. Holding on to the Guardian, I mean, obviously an option for King. But he's going to keep pushing to look for that extra kill, and in the end, well, I suppose he gets an orb.
Yeah, maybe having the additional value into his own ultimate versus the ones on the other side. I guess as well, when you look and there's already the Nightfall and the Run It Back online, you're going to go, okay, it doesn't really matter if I go down. Patman's too far away. Yudotan is yet to get onto the board. So neither of those ultimates are particularly close. But this is where we see that first fall by. Can Leviathan start off strong as their opponents did on the last map? Or are GE going to be climbing right back level again?
Keep in mind the Run It Back is online for GE, thanks to farming those orbs early on. Stun to slow them down. In fact, it's going to be a push out of Leviathan. Setos found himself.
Beautiful.
One, and the salvos are sublime. But Yudotan seems to be making a good dent in this defense. He's taking ground on the other side. He's taking kills, but blows answers even more. Javi alone with 3 to take down. He has at least got the spike, but he hasn't got a chance.
That was fantastic. These are the sort of rounds that make you really excited about a team like LEV. The credit obviously has to go to someone like Ono, where they've clearly just practiced these sort of plays. Even when the Nightfall goes through on the other side, they dive over the top of it, stun into the corner as well. Then the salvos come in. Like, that is timing of gods. Like, that's exactly what you want to see from them on this defensive side. This isn't a team that has just picked a weakness of an opponent. This is a team that has preparation in place. And that's always been where this squad has been the most exciting.
Now LEV looking much more comfortable, much more like themselves. In that previous round, especially considering that was the full buy, they had to run it back. It was a big danger for Leviathan to face off against, and they have dealt with it wonderfully. They were behind in the ult economy, but by the time the full buy comes up for GE, they should very much be catching up. And those dangers of the early half dealt with beautifully. Neon inside the smoke. He shouldn't be pushing just yet. Look at the south side of the map. So many players from the defensive side are flooding in through it, and they'll even have a chance to stop this spike plant if GE were to take, well, yeah, if they're to keep taking this long.
Maybe trying to bait players in.
Bait the salvos.
Instead, maybe planning a switch up through the spawn, but the problem is that flank has now come through. They're making the realization of, okay, we need to take some ground, and that forces their hand in towards King, who's just been waiting. That's what he's been doing the entirety of the round, just sitting there. And this is perfection from LEV. They slowly surround them. GE takes just that little bit too long to get the spike plant down. And they're going to come out of this one squeaky clean.
Yeah, I think that's something GE weren't expecting, to have such a heavy flank behind them that quickly. You can see they were trying to bait the salvos out, thinking that there would be a retake attempt from Leviathan from the spawn. And also, considering the round that just happened, they primed themselves for an attack, got dumpstered by utility ultimates and full-on aggression. Of course, they expected the faster retake, but delaying that time and running the clock down just allowed that flank to come all the way through. So far, it very much feels like the shoe on the other foot. In the last map, GE, they played the map better, but now it's Leviathan's turn.
And into our Coinbase win condition. I think the thing that we sort of talked about with this Leviathan squad is it's the team that has the setup versus the team that has the counter. It doesn't look right now like GE have the counter. They've swapped out their composition a lot. They've even put players onto uncharacteristic roles. Of course, Patman's normally someone that we see on like the initiator or controller. Like, that's where he's been kind of flexing over the last few months. They put him into this, and so far it hasn't looked great, but I feel like that's because LEV have had a lot of really cool trap plays. And at least with against the low buy, they weren't taking too much in terms of risks. They were surrounding them, they were very patient, and it seems like, even though maybe Mini doesn't like the agent King is on, King's reads have been very, very good.
Absolutely. So far, GE being outclassed, the game plan's been working, but now they've taken a moment to chat with Frost, and it looked like he was in rap god mode there. Certainly a lot of notes to hand out, but can they apply them? And they now start to chip away at that lead Leviathan have claimed. Their first time in the lead in the series, and they're not looking to let go of it.
Oh, early stun. I love this north side crunch, and they're doing it again from either side. Rolling Thunder even sent through in towards that spawn area. Spike Zine pushing down. You can see they're just trying to survive, and the salvos again are causing so many issues. Unaton just wants to hold on, and he's done very well. From that position, the issue, though, is he was in control of the spike.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. You take a look at Autumn right now towards the B site. Maybe he has a chance to run it back, but no one to defend him. It would likely be a death sentence. On Dish, well, you're going to have to walk into the op of Shadow, which is not going to be a fun fight to take for anybody. The Cosmic Divide, this is where it starts. I do think we're going to see that run it back put into play, but they're already a man down, and in fact, no chance to pop that ult. Neon's ahead of the fight, and Javi might even be forced into a save at this point. The credit's not looking good across the board. Carrying this rifle forward isn't exactly going to help that much, but well, it's probably better than throwing it away.
Again, I have to just give plaudits over to Leviathan and their sort of crunch plays towards that north side of the map. It seems like even from the two players that were there, they knew it was coming. They knew that that would be a possibility. And I wonder if there will have to be the switch up from G to almost have a bit of pack mentality, or even just be patient a little bit further back in the first few seconds of the round. The problem, though, is you look at where those players died. They are so far into their own spawn area that you almost feel like, well, they were left with nowhere to stand, and it's those reactive salvos coming out from blows going like, okay, there's players here, we know where they are. Let's force them into awkward positions. Communication needing to be on point, but also just those set plays out from LEV working once again.
You know, one of the reasons that I was happy to see him try to save that in Javi's front was because they were one away from the orbital strike, but Neon's gone and found an orb in the meantime. There's plenty of them on offer here.
One enemy remaining.
And ends up orbital strike online for the next. This is a big advantage for Leviathan in scoreline and ult economy. And so far, it feels like they're miles ahead in terms of controlling the map. And even after the pause, nothing to write home about for G. The same problem there, the crunches from Leviathan working well. You said the north side crunch, it's where they've been more impressive, but they've been very proactive, even on that south side. Every round, it feels like they have space that they need to take a mission objective. And so far, G cannot deny those objectives. Yeah, Batman's gonna have to drop out of there.
That's only a small amount of damage.
It's teammate.
Thankfully, yeah.
Teammate Molly, so.
Teammate.
Spike planted.
Utility causing him a couple of issues. Of course, look at the weaponry, but
You want to play? Let's
there
play.
it is. Tour de force activated. They've realized that there is an opportunity for them to take this one away.
Oh my goodness, blink and you miss it. It's the tour de force with 2. But the Pistols certainly not slacking in this round either, but another for Unitime to seal it in. A thrifty win for 5-2. That's not the round I thought G would come out with.
Yeah, Mastercard thrifty that will give them a huge boost. Because that was the thing. This was just one of those opportunities where you see that site almost gifted over to them. They managed to avoid a lot of that early aggression, and when they get into the post bar, you have Udaton with that free operator in hand. Those are the moments that we saw from him all the way through. The first map, a confidence booster, and seemingly part of the plan once again. But of course, the opponents are going to adapt to this early salvos, operator posted up. Even having some support in the close corner as well from Spikesy, and he can stun them if they get that little bit too close. But for now, not giving away their hand.
Yeah, when you've got Sato baiting like this, first shot fired, when he falls back, they should fill that space in quickly.
Going through
the smoke, though. That doesn't work for the bait play. Instead, Spikesy has to take the fight in the open. It's questionable. Maybe a little bit of impatience there for Leviathan, and well, the punish is massive, faking out that A side as well. This is what we said in the last map worked so often. They put pressure on one side of the map, enticed Leviathan in, and then took the open site. And it's just happened again. Even that molly, it's gonna come in too late. Neon's in a lot of trouble with so many players there to fight. I feel like he never stood a chance, but Blows steps right in for the same battle.
He's down to 45 health. Their credits are also not in the greatest of positions, so with Neon not being able to find those picks, you have to try and give this one up. A good resurgence from the side of G over the last couple of rounds. It was looking like, yeah, maybe we get the same as the last, where they just get blitzed out of the map, but Pause comes in. The operator as well for Udotan has definitely been a difference maker, but also just pushing that South A side of the map has been far more victorious, and the risks being taken. You can understand it. They've been so confident in how they've played in the last few rounds. That's why Leviathan forced that issue, but then it really does put Spikesy in a spot where he kind of has to go ham there or they lose the round.
I don't even hate the walk through the smoke because he didn't know they were there, and what's been working for Leviathan, their win condition has been taking that space. As we said, start a round, they say, we're gonna fight here. And they fight for that control no matter what. So this time there's a bait, nobody steps into the bait, and eventually you'd think, okay, well, let's get our early flank going. And worst case, I pop one and get back out, but instead, the round crumbles as a result. And that's a good adaptation from G to play that much more patiently on this attack side, wait for Leviathan to make the mistake, because so far they have given you fights. This time G take them on favorable soil. It's again going to be this push.
He was blind.
Right into the operator.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got blinded there, and more 2 players spotted. Are they gonna opt to try and flee? No, they want to try and fight this. They get that opening. Udoton has been sublime, by the way. I think that's the 3rd round in a row that he has found an easy pick. Well, I say easy. He was full blind and just hit the shot, but
Nightfall.
easy for him. stun will force them back. Nightfall, and Patman has gone down in response. They have the ult ready to try and trap them, but they've avoided it.
Well, this is a much slower turn back to the other direction, though, from GE. Might start to think that, yes, this worked before, right? Going to the A site. Look where the spike is. It might not be what's happening. But they've done this. They've faked one side, then pushed up the other. This time, Prowler goes towards A. Leviathan think that the play has switched up, but they find out that it hasn't. Now a man lowered down, and the Blaze covers across the site. Blows, though. A crucial kill up top. It's given them somewhere to fight from, but then the double to triple fake becomes the quadruple. They're back to the A
30
site.
seconds left.
I don't know how GE keep doing this, but the ruse is sold every time, no matter how many times they sell it.
And every time it feels like somebody is waiting for just an over-eager peek. Like, you can understand it. You're trying to figure out where they're going. You're trying to work out the position of these players, and every time you gamble, it's wrong. Yunatan is just there waiting. His third operator pick, where somebody has just tried to jiggle the angle, and he hasn't been missing. 12 and 5, by the way, while they are currently still behind in the map. He's been a huge part of this turning around. And for Sato, no choice but to flee and try and save it. And I agree with you. I think that although we talk about the counters, we talk about those plays being made by G, I think Harvey needs to be given a lot of credit here, because I'm sure there's help from players feeding him information, but somebody is having in those mid rounds to make those calls, and over the last couple of rounds, they have been correct.
He's often been the one walking into that empty space. Yep. And what's impressive about it is I can't really recall him getting punished for it that often. His success rate is huge, either in just avoiding the unfavorable fights.
There you go, full blind.
Space after. Yeah, that's certainly an unlucky start, if ever I've seen one, but from there, GE do remarkably well to pull this back together. And it makes me grateful that we changed our setups. Back in the old days, we used to have the coach on the stage as well. I think the only thing I'd hate more than playing against Frost's team would be having to look up and see Frost across the stage. Just that big smile on his face every time around like that happens. And it's gotten a timeout from Leviathan. They felt these last couple of rounds were slipping back to Pearl, we're slipping back to GE, having a lot more control than we want them to.
Yeah, and it's difficult as well because, again, like talking of that Coinbase win condition, like they had it at the beginning of this map. They had those sort of aggressive set play rounds that were working out wonderfully. And I think in the last round, they were a little unlucky, or very unlucky. They have the same set play to try and go for that deep B presence, and you get domed by a full blinded guy who is just holding the angle with an operator. So it's a rough one to try and go out of a pause with, because you kind of sit there and go, well, was it the wrong play? No, not really. But Yunatan has been turning this game.
12 and 5. I mean, his impact has been tangible from the very get-go.
The second he got the op, that was it. That's where things turned around.
But I mean, even on the last map as well, like he's had some crazy rounds, but seeing him run away with it like this for Leviathan's got to be spooky. And that timeout, no doubt. Not necessarily about Yunatan, more about how he's given those opportunities to catch those rotates in the late round, how the map is being pushed and pulled out of their hands. This time, Leviathan start in the spawn. 3 players waiting there. So they can react quite quickly to this more direct play from GE.
Ali Molotov trying to clear some of those closer angles.
Oh my God, look at him, look at him.
Yeah, it's every round. The Harvey is just claiming space. The problem is they're already into the tower, but now realizing how far back they are playing, that Cosmic Divide is just a general irritation. They can get into a post plant. The backstab is going to be so far behind, by the way, so if they're too slow, Harvey might just kill all of them.
That's the plan. They haven't gone for these flanks before. Map control's always been punished by them going back in the other direction. The 1-for-1 trades, though, good to start. As now another goes their way. Leviathan pick up the pace towards the site, but a familiar foe. Crystal and Yunatan stand in the way. Now just the one. Yunatan's got the angle, but not the shot. Sato, the one with the pressure, though. He has to move to the site, has to start that defuse. Swaps out for a rifle now in the ult. It's caught him, but he's actually out wide. Yunatan's dodged it. Now the time on his side as it keeps on ticking, and he'll take the kill as well. He's unstoppable.
I thought he had him. I'll be honest. I think that the choices made there by Sato were the right one. Avoid the fight. Slow him down. You probably at least get it to half, buy yourself some extra time, and then maybe go in for the kill. Instead, Yudotan, balls of steel, just runs past the ultimate. And he knows he's hitting that shot. Why wouldn't he? Nobody's even close to him on the scoreboard right now. 5-5. From a massive deficit, GE have climbed back to potentially taking the lead, but they have finally killed their demon, and maybe they've angered Sato in the process.
The danger man is down. In fact, a few of them are. Patman and Javi, all that remains. What a great start for Leviathan. The lead may be back in their hands momentarily. And with it being only Sato that gets dropped for his trouble.
Doing a thing.
Leviathan play this nice and safe. Passive on B. Ready to play the retake, knowing the numbers are by their side, and it means GE are the ones that have to take a risk. That risk means running into the numbers. Patman's dropped, and now his attempt to make this difficult situation that bit more manageable has left Javi in one that I think we all know the conclusion to. Leviathan have found their sixth and taken back the lead.
It's taken them a while to get there, but that
Don't
almost
leave him hanging. Come on. Come on. Come on now, you can't do this to him. Someone say something, please.
Have we frozen in time?
Yeah!
There we go.
Let's go!
Maybe the loudest cheer of the day.
I think that one united the crowd.
What a round from Sato, though. That was one where it genuinely felt like they made him angry. Like it needed something to ignite them after 4 rounds lost in a row. But there's still plenty in the purchase. An operator handed over to Patman. Of course, they've got the credits to spend. The tour de force available for Yudotan as well. As if he wasn't already quick enough. This time, Sato has looked to try and claim B main control instead, on towards their south side.
This is it. What won them the last round was the opening shot from the off. The opening goes to GE. And it will be a battle between these two. I suppose it's fitting. B main control taken by Sato. But Yudotan walks up right behind him. And now it's a patience game, a waiting game. Perhaps the smoke up, though, allows Yudotan to close that distance that little bit further. And King with a
He's human.
Decision. That shot didn't land. Right past Sato, and now he knows exactly where to look.
Even still.
Spike planted.
Post plant. Available on Patman. Looking to try and get aggressive again at Sato to win the battle of those operator players. Give them that man advantage. Give them an opportunity to at least go in with a lead after the start they had, but Harvey's having none of it. Already clearing one, but he's stunned up. Trade immediately from Patman. As they look to walk in together, the shot's not quite landing though. Even still, it will come down to just one. Blows making his way to the site, needs to bait someone into a fight, and Autumn just isn't giving anything away. He knows his teammate will swing first, and Patman still just sitting in the corner, will go down the spam, not quite landing. And Autumn knows he's got him dead to rights at this point. We will go in even at the half, 6-6.
Well, it's a nail-biter of a game, but Leviathan not out of the woods just yet. A solid half. Let's see if they can keep it up after the break.
I've got Elizabeth here. She is Patman's auntie. Elizabeth, you're the reason Patman's on that stage. You bought him his first PC.
Yes, yes.
So what's it like watching him do such an incredible job with his team? Because you've been there his entire gaming career.
I actually feel very teary-eyed, and I'm very proud to see him on stage, live and in person.
Is it quite nerve-wracking though?
Yes, but actually my heart rate is like 120 right now, watching him play.
But this man, he's been a world champion. But what's it like seeing him play with Global Esports?
Well, it's a new team for him, but I think he's done well making it to international again.
He definitely has. And actually, he does you proud in other ways. He's also been an incredible basketball player too.
Yes, he loves basketball.
So talk to me then about Patman settling into this team. What was your reaction when he told you he was joining Global Esports?
Well, all we can do is like support him, whatever he wanted to do. So when he told us that he's going to Global Esports, it's fine. It's just giving all the support that he needs.
Well, Elizabeth, I think you being here means so much to him. So thank you so much for talking to me. Good luck to Global Esports and Patman.
Well, it didn't look like they needed much look in that first map, but this half a bit more of a challenge. Leviathan certainly woke up, but GE caught up in the end. We are neck and neck going into the next half, Tom. Where does your allegiance lie?
It's just difficult at this point. And I think the fact that we at least saw some life in Leviathan towards the end of the half was a good sign. I think Sato especially is going to be a huge talking point, as we know that setup is going to be around him and SpikeZine. The question, though, is going into the defense, can Yudoton keep it up? You'd expect that he's going to have the same opportunities, and with how aggressive this composition can be. But it is a lot to ask, because let's be real, they would not have 6 rounds on the board if he wasn't playing the way he is.
That is very true indeed. And that has been a hero performance in the first half, but now we move to the second. They've had time to chat with their coaches, and we've certainly seen the coaches waffling away. Round 13 kicks off with GE on the defensive side, and Leviathan, although they've cleared a lot of space towards B and put a lot of numbers there, will be the A site that is the ultimate target. The wrap back in comes in just as GE flee the B site and put numbers and boots back on the ground here. And then Leviathan go the other direction. Early on, you know, I'd even expect this to be about orbs, but they've not taken any yet.
Well, they're walking into the one man they were probably trying to avoid. Yudoton waiting patiently, it's immediate. SpikeZine is gone. Okay, they're going to remove all of his utility, stun him. They're sending everything to try and clear this man out, and they will do so. Removed. Look at all the assists that came through onto Yudoton. The Patman, he's trying to be cheeky and he's caught for it. King trades him out. Advantage firmly garnered by King.
30 seconds left.
And now Crystal, 14 HP, 3 to find. All of them healthier than him, but that Sheriff is going to be deadly. Well, to almost everyone up until he hits that shot. But in the end, it's Sato to close. Leviathan reclaim their lead with a pistol. Just look at Sato trying to hype up the crowd, hype up his team, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when you're having a game like him, you want to be the one trying to inject that energy into the rest, and no doubt King's feeling pretty happy after this pistol. It's a bit of a confidence builder for him and for Leviathan as they find their way back into the lead. Strange attack side there. It looked like they expected some aggression out of GE in that pistol, looking for it on B, going under, walking back to A main, clearing it out. But in the end, they found the easier site to push into and traded out those kills very nicely. 7-6, and a lead in the half should follow. Should get even stronger as they're now up against Classics.
Again, we're going to see the same from Global Esports. They want to try and get as many orbs for Autumn as possible. North side A taken. And on the other side of the map, they've just left Yudoton. He's already hearing the steps. He's already spotted the players. They're going to try and pincer on the remaining holding. But Neon and Sato have done a fantastic job. Now it leaves just one. Spike not going to be planted just yet. Counter flash will leave him completely blind. And in the end, it's actually the flank from Sato that clears him. Orbs collected for the duelist. A few for the other side. And the lead extended for Leviathan.
Yeah, nice work all around. Definitely seemed like a danger when Yudoton was under heard two players go towards B, because the immediate call there is for those guys in A main to just run it down, start the early flank, take those fights, and they had the numbers, but they didn't have the weaponry. A big round from Sato as well to give them a put him 17-8, now tied up with Yuditon on the scoreboard. But the rounds favoring Leviathan. That may change here, but it's a very strong bonus round for this attacking side. They've got a lot of rifles to work with. And of course, pack mentality prevails even with SMGs at times. Great pickup by Crystal though.
And they're ready for the player to try and swing out through top. It's going to be Autumn taking the fight with his ultimate. They know how important keeping this round clean will be. With King, one of the weaker weapons. Unless blows can hit a wonderful timing here, they're already going to be spotting him. He is currently completely isolated. In fact, every fight that would be taken by Leviathan here would be isolated, and for Yuditon, that might be the easiest kill he's had so far today. A flank, leaving it down to just one, and in the end, Global Esports will comfortably make it through that bonus.
Yeah, considering what they were up against, it's almost comfortably making it through a buy round. It's a very nice one from Global Esports. As we said, for Leviathan, on this attack side, pack mentality can work, but when you lose Spike Scene right away, and Sato coming up through heaven is caught like that, they have early flanks as well. It really exposes a lot of issues with that round, but it also gives you a lot to learn from. They made a more direct play, and GE very quickly closed the walls in on them. Be something they look to exploit, but for now, it looks like, again, pack mentality, 5 in dish, stun setup. We will have a pacey attempt. Whether this is for the orb, I'm not even sure, because with no presence elsewhere on the map, you almost have to play this as a straight-up hit.
Gonna force Harvey back, but it's the rest of the team are still here. There were 4 players on this A side of the map, and that's a problem. They go diving into a stacked-up site. The read again from GE is nigh on perfect. And for the remaining 2, they're trying their best to fight back into the round, but this was an early clear of the south side, and now they go running in towards Neon. Be careful. This guy has proven time and time again that on the skill scale, he's almost ticking off it. But a 1v5.
Got the spike.
I think you'd be crazy to believe.
Well, 1 down already. 2 away from an orbital strike. Big mistakes would be needed to even give him a chance. And you can see right away, look at Yuditon on the other side of the map. He's fallen back, he'll take an orb. And set himself up to just catch the info and TP right out. There is no escape for Neon at this stage. The only way is forward, and with 20 seconds left, if he doesn't decide to move, saving won't really be an option either. Yuditon has boxed him in complete. Well, okay, saving will be an option. But not what he's going for. That's 3 kills, 8 seconds left, needs to get the plant in. Okay, maybe waited a little too long to get that one going, but I'll be honest, I started to get nervous for a second there.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for having just sat in the site, I would have been sweating for them. But even still, it's a lot of damage, considering how clean everything was at the beginning. But this was also just pretty much setting up in that 1-4 for the side of GE. They had 3 players pushing that south side of the map, and when Harvey spots everything, and I think they put a Prowler all the way through in towards the spawn, they go, okay, well, there's no one on this south side. They have to be on the north, and everybody rotates in ready.
And also Yuditon is holding north side arcade, sees nothing. It becomes pretty obvious where they may be. The wall's closing in quicker than expected. On Leviathan in that previous round, they are denied any presence here towards A main by the Molly. And evidently, they don't want to fight into it afterwards. Again, they're on this low buy. The pack mentality's been adopted when it comes to the buy round, so you very much expect it to be the case here. And for GE, the information is in their hands. Nothing in A main, nothing north side. You know it's a B hit. You don't want to get too close to those pistols. You don't want to get overwhelmed by this push. Down below, a bit of an awkward battle. Oh,
okay.
That's fallen.
This now gets interesting, because a post-plant orbital strike is gone, because Neon's died. That is unfortunate timing. King's done well. His ult's only 1 away, but I don't want to even talk about ults, because the last time I did, somebody fell immediately. Weaponry retrieved by King, and okay, on the back of the side with a pistol. Now Sato has an ult of his own. It's not going to connect. Crystal waiting on the other side, and they are being picked apart, losing every single fight versus weaker weaponry. And for Yudotan, he wants to try and save this, but SpikeZine is chasing him down, looking to run after that operator, and he's got to be very careful here. There are multiple players trying to surround it onto him. They are baiting him in, and it will be the Mastercard Thrifty. It gets another round onto the board for LEV.
LEV right back in the lead and right back on their feet. That's what you like to see. A great round, and we complimented them on Pearl as well, but the low buys, they always have such a cool idea with it. This one starts full south side. They see the A main aggression, they're pushed back by it and say, okay, all eggs in one basket now. We know they're pushing there. Let's take the fight B main. And that happens to be the lighter side of the map. That happens to be where they can get in and get a plant. And that was already a success in my mind. You now have a plant, they have to push into you, you get a couple of kills, you make it costly, and maybe the butterfly effect comes in by the end of the map. But instead, Leviathan steal a round that they had no right even competing for, and that has gotten a timeout from GE.
Yeah, it's completely wrecked their economy. That was meant to be the round where they start building up those credits. And for the other side of things, you can see Sato, you kind of want to call him a superstar in the making because of how young he is, 19-year-old. I think he's just turned 19 as well. But it feels like he's already there. Like having those crazy high-impact rounds and then just being ready to scream, hype up his teammates, hype up the crowd. He has now overtaken Yudotan as the kill leader in this map, but he's had Neon alongside him. And I mentioned the potential for ultimates. They have a lot of them building up, but the one thing GE does have coming into this round is the ultimates already built.
Yeah, perhaps that can bridge the gap somewhat. Tour de Force put into play right away, but Yudotan's walking in to Sato and will be shut down. The big gun removed from the round right away. And now for GE, not much more hope remains. Anti-flash on the other side. Some players will be caught, but others won't. The stuns go in right away. Sure, they'll lose one. But how much more can GE hope for in a fight like that? The spike up for grabs if they could win it, and Patman's thinking about it. He's got a rifle, but the high-low setup on the other side could completely decimate any chance of finding the kill. And now almost every danger has been removed from that defensive arsenal.
He turned around.
Nice, okay.
For a second, it looked like, but clearly the spidey senses were tingling. Cool and controlled for Leviathan. Maybe there'll be one kill at least. There you go.
My ult is ready.
They now know where the last man is, and for Crystal, he's got the whole team facing off against him. Leviathan extend their lead once more, but this will be the round that the pause was called for.
The bad guys.
For Global Esports. We saw in the last half a fight back that brought them level. Of course, we know going into that third and final map, you kind of feel like a lot of those veto advantages start to fade away. I think many, including myself, once we saw Ascent banned out, thought maybe even the split would be picked by the side of Leviathan. So, although it may have started off as a bit of a shaky veto, if we go to map 3, I'd almost start to say they're favored again.
We've seen this approach from Leviathan on the defensive side. Now GE adopted 2 players left towards the spawn for that quick reaction and the play coming towards B. The Rolling Thunder should completely stop them from having any say in this. Chance for the operator to maybe land one, but no, TP taken back, and now full control for Leviathan, you would think. Running back sent in, they get one off of it, and another onto Sato, and the numbers now sitting 5v3. They haven't even planted the spike yet on Leviathan, and they're being whittled down.
Go, go, go!
Trying to create some space. SpikeZine's done well. He's denied. Chance for a trade. The problem, though, is Yudotan again in a deep position. And now the spike dropped in a bit of an awkward spot. They need SpikeZine to basically go back in. Can you do it again? Can you get us that space back once more? Can you cause that distraction? The answer is no. GE respond in turn. The back and forth of this map continues. And another purchase will be coming right back up.
Indeed, the fact they can just fight right back into this one. Means that the lead isn't stolen out of their hands just yet, but GE looking much more calm and comfortable in that. Yudaton again being set up for those op shots, and it feels like when he goes pushing in at the start of the round, Sato has his number. It's a lot of connections coming out of the waylay on Leviathan, but in those retakes, Yudaton's had so much value. Just got to keep him alive that long. It looks like GE want to re-aggress on they're hearing some noise in A main. Send Autumn there, flash through, seize the control. As he falls back, they put Patman in to hold the line.
He's got to be careful. Just about makes it round the corner, but he's still here. I don't think that was the plan, but he's held the ground to an extent. In the meantime, the rest of the team on the attack go rotating to the other side. Deep control on the north side of the map from Globant, as you said. The man, the Phoenix that was on the other side, is now waiting for them on this one. Nice work from Sato once again. The orbital strike will deny them at least running all the way through, but Autumn already looking to try and flank back around through that north side, which they kept control of.
Flash gonna come out up top. It's devastating, but the shots don't land. Leviathan find everything, and now a 5v2. Well, we said the ops being good on retakes, but he'd have to be great to stand even a chance. Patman by his side. Oh, isolated in the open, and it's an easy convert for Leviathan. 11-9 now.
Everyone having fun?
Just 2 away from closing out the map, bringing us to split. And as you said, Tom, that's where favor starts to flip a little bit.
Well, the thing is as well, you look at the role of Sato, and that role is meant to be a death sentence. That's meant to be, you dive in, you try and get a shot up, and then you retreat and somebody else takes the space. He's diving in, he gets the split second, is immediately hitting headshots, and comes out with 3 kills at the end of the round. He truly has been incredible in this map thus far. And him versus Yudotan has been a fun battle, but I'll be honest, he started to take over it. Patman, though, will finally shut this man down. That might be a good opportunity for them to find a response.
Oh, nice push up in A main. It looked like they'd take some blows for that, but it's well after the fight. By the time that anything's landed for Leviathan, a 2 versus 4 needed. Sure, they've got ultis, but this isn't the round for them, surely. It looks like a write-off and stepping into the off, this time in the hands of Patman, but the result is no different. A body on the floor, and it's not a defender. Spike Zine, the last one standing, 4 players to take down. This would put Leviathan up to 12. It'd probably win them the map, but it's an impossible task. GE fight their way back to within punching distance.
Oh, good response, and a necessary one at that. Like I said, Sato was dominating a lot of these rounds, so to shut him down immediately. But then again, we talked about this a lot throughout the match so far. I love the calls from Harvey just to go, no, you know what? We've used the ultimate. Let's play through their utility. Let's get aggressive. Trap them in towards their spawn while they're isolated and not allow them to regroup in that scenario at all. A confidence-building round, but again, with how things have been going, both teams winning their rounds cleanly. The economy hasn't gone anywhere. Patman once again with that operator, but a flash should be coming through that wall before they peek. No, are they going to walk up on it? He's just going to look to stick around, and, well, he's definitely been caught out early. It's actually Yudotan to go down instead.
That was all part of the plan. G sent 3 players to try to fight towards Arcade, but Leviathan had the whole squad come that way. Now being boxed in Arcade, you can see the jump peak from Javi that I don't think was spotted. Leviathan don't know the numbers they're facing, but now Patman under pressure has to move the Armageddon! But it's doomsday for Leviathan! What a response from Global Esports! Neck and neck!
I'll be honest with you, some of the stuff that Patman is doing is making me so uncomfortable. Like, gets forced out by the ult, throws his stun, jumps back into the open, and while they're trying to swing in to catch him, Autumn just wrecks 2 players on the way into the site. It's a painful taste of defeat.
Watch me.
And while you're starting to see those credits dissipate for the attack inside, they might be left with nothing into the next round, but they're going to pick up the pace themselves, immediately throwing through the overdrive, and on the other side is caught, and in fact it spikes him, that ends up with the kill. Trades immediately back in response. It's chaos, but Sato again lands a shot, back to a 3v3 once more, as they grind to a halt for a second. both teams pausing to catch their breath. Patman's operator has been spotted. Yudotan, his position also seems known, and it's almost bait. They want them to swing, they want them to peek, to re-clear, to think that they've left, and they do.
Of course they do. They heard the door open. No contact for 30 seconds. This is where LEV clearly have gone back to that B side, but as we can see, that is not the case. And dangerous now if they're allowed to get this plant in. The stun could be back. The salvo in line. It's a deadly duo when it comes to, well, never mind if he puts it up top. Well, at least the plant found. Of course, they don't know just how open this site is. Noise made now. The rotates coming back in
30 seconds
from
left.
Global Esports, but they're not going to be here on time.
Spike planted.
Sato never let go of this position.
You are divided.
They'll have to.
He held his ground all the way through. The thing is, they can avoid his position, but can they avoid King? Holding within the sight and looks to just clean up everybody. Patman hunting for a rifle. He doesn't even know that he's still around this corner. Finds the info, but it's Sato to close once again. Leviathan continue to dig deep and are now one round away from taking us to map 3.
Global Esports got past that first map easily. Barely broke a sweat.
One enemy remaining.
We said they would be tested when it came to Fracture with Leviathan. Just up the difficulty, 12 on the board. It's either overtime or victory and map 3. And Leviathan again adopt the death ball. They went to the B site with this and were met by numbers. There were 3 players there when they didn't expect it. Now the death ball's on A. There's 3 players here. GE, numbers in the right spot, and Patman's feeling greedy. Gets in, he can always get out. Well, for the next second or so he can, and now he's stuck around a little too long. Leviathan punished immediately, and the pace should be picked up to this A site if it is. Crystal's the one with the challenge, the man who top fragged the last map, put on a brave face in so many bad situations, but this, way too much to ask. Leviathan are hungry for a 3rd map. Their order's almost ready! Yudotan! The human missile hits his mark! And now, just 2 left to lock in an overtime, but it's Javi who has to find both.
Yudotan gave them a chance. Tried to close it alone and leaves his leader to try and fight versus 2. Neon on King on the other side, but the problem is he has to make noise. He has to give the game away, tries to bait the fact that he's already dropped down.
Off your feet!
But they will now know, and the Rolling Thunder is going to force him all the way back. That time ticking further and further. The map 3 looking inevitable as Leviathan will hold their ground. Map 3 on the horizon. Don't go anywhere.
And here we go, let's see. And yeah, the Sage, you see, the same kind of approach as America's, that not the Vice, but the Sage. Designed to slow this LEV team down, but so far in all the games I've watched of LEV, they have not been slowed down on this map at all.
Yeah, not steering away from the composition. This is what Global Esports were playing back in Pacific. And like you mentioned, Minnie here, Leviathan playing that double duelist. I think it's interesting to see how they are going to play up against the double controller, the Sage. I think as well, Global having to start on the attack here puts them in a very uncomfortable position.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the attack side of this composition from GE is the slightly harder one to play, and it'll be interesting to see how LEV tries to disrupt it. They have a little bit more of the firepower with the duelists. Are they going to fight for these extremities early? One thing I expect GE to do is be using that Sage though to take some of the extremities, and I expect then LEV to react by taking them back. That's what I want to see from both these teams.
I think one of the head-to-heads I'm looking at as well is Sato, who's just had a great performance on that map, but then also Yudotan on the other side on the Raze here. I'm just intrigued to see how they actually match up against one another when you look at the pairings with that Fade. All these little trap plays that they can set up to fight for middle space in general.
Well, thank you guys. We got LEV, we got Global Esports, and we've got a map 3 as we send it back to our casters, Mitch and Tom.
Well, you know, I was starting to get worried that we were going to see some 2-0s all week long, Tom, but this one is certainly delivered exactly as we hoped it would. We've made it all the way to the final map. Now listen, two very different compositions these teams are bringing out. A core three that remain the same across the board, but which one draws your eye more? What do you like the look of here, Tom?
But it's interesting because I'd say that from what we've seen so far, I would probably lean the way of Lev. I think that Sato is fantastic in this position. And the thing is, though, it's like I like the Sage, but on the defense more so. And if they can deny some of that defensive side aggression from Lev by being in the right place at the right time, I think this comp could be a good counter. But with how Sato played on the last map, I don't, like, if you're trying to counter this man, he might rip your head off before you can even think.
Well, I've certainly seen a few counter shots from Yudoton in that previous as well. Wall already used here, as we can see Leviathan finding the first pickup and then fading out, giving up heaven control, but isolated on this side is Spike-Zine. He's all alone, and he's left that way. He's cleared the sight of all attackers, and a flawless pistol round for Leviathan follows.
The saying is you can live to see yourself die alone or something along those lines. My man just didn't die. He just stayed alive at the back. And while absolute destruction in the pistol round, and that was a big part of that previous map as well. The fact that they were able to get those pistols over the line, they were able to put themselves in a position that ended up just closing out the map in very close contention. If you're GE, you probably feel a little bit hard done by. A pistol round genuinely could have made all of the difference. But in this round, it is, again, more of the same. Wanting to get those orbs under their belt, claiming the first early on B, running all the way to the other side to get the second. But with how little is invested here, Mitch, expectations, I would say if they get a kill, they've done well.
Yeah, well, I mean, getting the 2 orbs already is going to be a challenge if Leviathan keep holding the angles they're on. They're ready for the fight up top, but it is only a judge on Spike-Zine, so he can't really take the fight to them. And in fact, they're going to, although we thought this was a step forward to grab the orb, maybe it will be when the wall goes up. Numbers have started to shift in the other direction. They're even going to get caught by the Prowler on purpose. Yudotan's trying to bait them in. Trying to show some presence on this side of the map and step forward, grab the orb, make some noise, let them know that this is the side that they're looking to fight on while the others walk into B, but it's not left open. Leviathan, they're wise to these tricks. They just played 2 maps where GE were doing the same thing, and they won't let them get away with it again. Good work by Neon, and another flawless round for Leviathan. A clean lead built up.
Yeah, exactly what they're looking for. They can come into this next round with rifles across the board, bar a singular judge, which, okay, it's not as strong as it used to be, but I think we've already seen that even going back to map 1, the Neon can still be incredibly strong. Maybe the judge can too. And as their lead builds, it feels like so does that confidence for Leviathan. That first map seeming more like the outlier than the defining factor. And that's what I was kind of expecting with the slows. Like, you know that your opponents like to get aggressive, so throwing those in early. But I also like what Neon did. He's jumping out, gets the info, but it's part of a TP to get away. He can't be trapped there, and he still spots players.
Well, GE spread across the map, putting pressure on mid, looking for someone to step out of line. Seems very unlikely to happen towards this A site. Prowler sees nothing there. Did it see nothing? I think Autumn might have shot it. Went down very early, and they certainly know he's around this area now. The first map, this would have already seen the rotate start to the A site, but as we said, Leviathan are more than aware of how GE like to work this attack side, how they've been exploited in this series already, and so as GE gear up for this B hit, there's still going to be numbers waiting. The idea to send Autumn late through mid. Actually, he's going to find a lot of empty space there.
30 seconds
30
left.
seconds left.
3 players make that 4 already here for the defenders. The read is almost perfect. The crossfire's working out as well. As one player goes down, the swings are immediate. And this is a problem for Global. Nice work from Patman and Autumn alongside him. The spike looking to be planted, 12 seconds left. He's got an isolated battle, but Autumn is quick enough It is a dangerous bonus, as we said at the beginning, and maybe a little bit too close. Nonetheless, GE do have their first round.
Yeah, definitely a lot of blows traded out by LEV there, but GE with a lot of patience as well. Starting on the mid control, pushing them back, and the question mark that created was enough for Leviathan to decide to rotate through spawn, opened up the door for Autumn, and once they get to the site, their pace was perfect. They start to move towards the smokes, but they don't burst out into that space for the fights until Autumn's ready to come in and back them up. Nicely done. But now the full buy from Leviathan, a much stronger round from the defense. GE with a very different approach as well. Last round was waiting for aggression. They had 1B, 1A, 3 mid. This time, everything given up. With 120 on the clock, it's pack mentality outside A.
Depends how long it's going to take Leviathan to realize. Blows' job is just to try and slow them down, and the pre-fire almost takes him out completely. They managed to keep control, though, of those rafters, and now look to swing together.
It's this quick retake by Leviathan, though. Numbers on ramp already. 3 men have made it down, but Autumn again trying to wrap around behind them late. Trying to be that thorn in the side. Uniton has taken a double. Autumn's not even needed in this play. And now Neon left with almost no choice. 1v4. It's time to go to the other side of the map, tuck in, and hope to carry that rifle through to the next. A great round for GE, though, only losing Uniton, who was grandstanding in the middle of the site, and he took 2 with him.
Yeah, I like the way they adapted to that, though, because you look at the fact that Heaven Control was completely in the hands of the defenders. I think that initially Blows did a great job to just make sure they can't just run up and take that for free. It makes the retake so much more difficult. But then, as you sort of said it, they implant Autumn in a deeper position. He's then left smoked off, and then Uniton is just watching that angle. And okay, there's a little bit of disruption thrown in at the same time from Patman, who's TP'd up to almost use the gap in the wall. And then when Uniton is hitting those shots, it makes things that little bit more easy. Economy damaged. Leviathan's early lead taken from the pistol and follow-up now reduced. They don't have too much to play with in this one.
It really was Patman in that last round with huge impact. 1 kill was all it took to leave them with basically no added layer to that push out of ramp. Spike seen, that's a big risk. Walking through that side of the orb, visible by basically everywhere in mid, and there were 3 players staring right back at him. Of course, you're going to take risks in a round like this where there's weak weapons in play for Leviathan. They get nothing, bar a bit of information for the first fight. Now, this is a bit more dangerous, but they've just spotted Blows. Does well to find even the 1, and despite some damage being done, this will be a hard round to take out of GE's hands. They have a showstopper if they need it, and that's probably a big win if Leviathan can make them pop that ult.
Neon at least managed to get his rifle back, but you can see the positioning from Patman as well. A late smoke thrown in. Now he's flanking a man who thinks he probably has a wraparound, although timing here could be quite important. Does Patman actually turn around? No, he does not. Okay. That's at least a gun into the hands of Sato, but can they get anything more from this? Time-wise, probably not. It is ticking fairly fast, and with Uniton putting...
what?
That's a mistake. Yeah. You can see
no
by
way.
his face. That was not the plan whatsoever. But it's going to end up clearing out Sato. Yeah, definitely not a part of the plan from Uniton, but hey, he gets a kill for it at least.
Well, he sent his missile, the namesake, out. Fair enough. Might not have been necessary, like you say. I'm 99% sure that was a misclick, or it's one of the most audacious end-of-round plays I've seen in a long time. 3-2 nonetheless. GE find themselves the lead, and Leviathan are feeling the pressure. They have taken this moment to call a timeout.
I think it shows the headspace of GE, though. Like, you're in a third map of your opening, and something that could end up as a Coinbase win condition is just having that sort of positivity. You've made a mistake in what is a pretty big game for you, but you've closed out the round and you've won 3 rounds in a row. And as said, in the last map, those pistols ended up almost being a saving grace for Leviathan because they only just close it out 13-11. But the fact that GE has got off to such a good start, and when you look back to at least the last couple of times they played this map, their defense was very good. And I think that sort of sits true to this composition, having a lot available for delay. I think LEV have realized very early on that, okay, we need to chat to owner, we need to come up with something here on the defensive side because at least the last round, that wasn't particularly close.
Oh, they've had their moment. Chat with the coaching staff, and now we're right back into the game. The barriers will go up, and it's time for them to apply whatever they've learned from the big brain in the coach booth. GE, pack mentality. 5 players sitting outside A. No control across the map. This is, you know, they have got a sentinel, but quite in that way.
If they don't go A, it's going to take them a very long time to go anywhere else, but clearly very confident in their A site take, especially when you have a Nightfall. We've seen this already, the throw put out, then they have the wall put up top. Once they can get it on the cross, the thing is that the defense are already here. They're already ready once again to try and go for this retake down the ramp, but last time they got shut out.
They dealt with a TP attempt from Patman, so no heaven control now for GE to work with. They're sitting down on the site, waiting for Leviathan to come to them. Remember, last time, Autumn in the same position wasn't spotted, wasn't needed, so he can hold that deep into the round. The Sage wall has to be broken. The slow goes in right away. More time bought, more delay. But the paranoia, oh, it's lined up perfectly. It's going to catch so many. 3 players blinded by that, but Javi and Crystal, they still managed to find their kills. Numbers sit heavily in favor of GE, and King might have bought himself a way out, a way to save this weapon with that kill, but no chance anymore for the round to go their way. Leviathan, after the pause, it's the same result.
I really like the sort of small differences we're seeing from GE. Like, you think back to that prior round, okay, they still didn't have that heaven control, but they put the wall up there, and then they TP up to the wall. This time, they put it towards the spawn. You have Javi sat on it the whole time. Okay, you break my wall, I'm going to just put slows in. And then they get up close in contact. Sure, the spams help them a lot, but also that paranoia is going to near sight you. It's not going to leave you completely blinded. Come on. They seem to be enjoying themselves. You can understand why. 4 rounds in a row. That A-site take has caused so many issues that look at the defense in this round, Mitch. They are about to try and fight them for A control, and they're not there.
Yeah, indeed. 3 players go running up. See absolutely nothing but GE. Nice. They've taken a loss early on. Patman down and out. Patman right back in. No spams to take him out of the round, and Autumn has just spotted 1. Make it 2 inside the vents. A trade at least for GE. Let's see how they deal with this situation at 3v4.
Wait, Heaven Phoenix. Phoenix on me. I don't see it. Stairs. I'm holding Heaven. Heaven 1. Wait, happy.
Last player standing.
Left side.
And good damage there.
Oh, it's a narrow margin, but Leviathan just about find the round.
Yeah, I think it's one of those moments where it seems like Neon is almost doing more than his fair share. Like being able to just delay them enough, playing around the edge of the smokes, and that might even be the reason they go for that heavy A presence, because they go, even if they go B, that's the guy that's been causing them issues so far. I think that the deaths he's had have mostly been when he's rotating towards A. I think it was 6-1 other than that. Another big round for a man that has been talked up an awful lot coming into this tournament. You can understand why. Autumn has just taken a nasty amount of damage.
It was a headshot through the wall. Lucky that he was that close to it. Oh, the TP's almost got King off, and it will indeed. Patman putting the numbers now in their favor despite early damage, and now the pressure onto Neon, who has to just back out. Spikes in, though! He goes up into heaven. Saddle by his side, and now the advantage no longer in the hands of GE. The plant not found, and they rotate. What? But Autumn! Tag from the early fight, still wins the battle. But Neon has been the danger man. can be this time. But a gamble has to be made, and of course, he heard the snake bite. He thinks now it's the A hit, but
he's had the
soon he'll find out the plants on the other side.
He's made the realization, though. He'll be here maybe a little bit sooner than expected. Autumn might even be caught walking away, and he will! Just as the Viper's Pit blooms, they thought they had more time. A 1v1 to take it home, but it's Crystal to save the day. It looked like it will be another round when Neon just takes over. A sublime read, but Crystal keeps them in the lead.
What a try it was from the man, currently sitting 10-4. The beating heart of Leviathan on this defensive side, but flatlined in the final second. So lucky to catch that Viper. The timing was perfect. The read after the snake bite went down. He connected the dots, but he couldn't get the full picture in time. Now 3-5. GE again with a decent lead, and it might just be about to get that little bit better with a very low buy coming in from Leviathan. Viper's Pit could definitely help them out, though.
Oh, it's safe to say that they believe in the Bandit. 4 purchased, a Viper's Pit thrown in, Spike Xene ultimate available. They're going to try and just pad what they have in this round with those ults. Problem once again, though, well, firstly, they've lost the opening pick, but also that B site only defended by Neon. And in any other round, I've been a believer, but he does only have a pistol this time out. His spams are still causing them issues, though. Looking like he might try and get a little bit cheeky around this.
Yeah, I do think that GE are ready for that. Something about the 3 rifles pointed at that choke point gives it away. And there it is. Did they realize? Yes, they did. They saw the elbow. Neon, whether it was Paranoia or Smoke, he was lining up. Don't get a chance to put it out as King falls. This round looking like it's done.
30 seconds left.
And indeed, unless Spike Xene's got an ace up his sleeve, it will be.
I think there's going to come a time where they have to start trying to deal with Autumn. Like his lurks around the map, think back to the last round, it was just a general irritation. And even when they knew where he was, it's still causing them mass amount of problems. We saw it in prior rounds where they go for that A push-up to try and clear that lurker out of the side of the map, and then it's not there. That's what GE have done quite well. They've had these all-in rounds where they're all together, they're all pushing an angle, and then they've had these other rounds where you just have Autumn on the other side of the map. And it feels like each time they try and pick the round where he's not going to be there, they're wrong.
Yeah, again, going back to Pearl, that was the kind of vibe we had. It wasn't about the lurks, instead about where the hits were coming through. The fakes from GE were sublime. They've had some great attack sides here. 9-3 possible. That would be a big blow to Leviathan moving to the next half. We haven't seen those signs of the defensive side connecting consistent rounds just yet.
But it's just been Neon's B-site hold, and they're going to challenge him once again. This time, though, a showstopper sent through. He's managed to escape. His life has held a lot of value in this map so far. The showstopper will give them space. Already wall being broken, but in the meantime, the spike has gone through, and the attackers wanted to try and push even further forward, not wanting to be trapped in. Even still, though, damage being done. That lurk again! He seems to have an opponent catching him almost every time, but he still wins those fights. Good trades back, though. Make it interesting, enough so that Sato has used his ult. King also gets rid of Yudatan. Somehow, this might just be competitive.
Oh, it was nearly favored to Leviathan there. Javi lucky to still be alive, and Crystal, well, he's playing a risky game. The swing in, good, you thought! They went together! They found Javi alone, and, well, I guess he found them. 7-3 now. It looked like Leviathan had a chance, but the light is going dim on that side of the stage as GE climbed further and further into the lead.
They were tunnel visioned. They were chasing that last man ring around a Rosie, and instead it was Javi to catch them. His ult now available for the next as well, and you can understand why this second pause is coming in. A 7-5 half, okay, it wouldn't be great considering you won the pistol and second round, but it feels like those last 2 rounds are going to be the Coinbase win condition, because if you go in a 9-3 deficit into this GE comp, which, as said, I think has looked better defensively, And I start to feel very nervous.
I can think of at least 3 rounds so far where Autumn's flanks have had huge potential.
Yeah.
I can think of at least one more where his flank was a safety net that they didn't even need to go near. And at this stage, I cannot think that this pause is about anything else but addressing that. The fact that they've caught him in so many of the rounds, like you said, you think about sewers, you think about there in mid, a player swings, has a gun pointed at him, and Autumn somehow reacts. Whether he doesn't have his weapon or whether he's looking the wrong way, it doesn't matter. He ends up walking out of there with most of his HP and an advantage for the team. That cannot be happening. Even some of the time it shouldn't be happening. It's happening every time.
Well, there is a reason that this guy flexes between this Viper and, you know, like a Phoenix or something. He has that raw individual skill. He's had it for quite a while. There was a reason that teams were willing to take that risk of picking him up in China. It was because of the flair that he brings to the server. But yeah, it feels like in some of the cases, the LEV players should have been hitting those shots. He has managed to get away with it other than Neon. Neon has been having his moments. The last round, of course, he was completely forced out. And well, surely Patman's not just going to be able to walk all the way through. He's heard the rotation and now he's just waiting. It's a good check, though. A very good check from SpikeZ. That could have been a double with ease.
It could have been even more. Whoops. The round to follow it perhaps, but GE with a few stumbles, a man down. The Sage Wall doesn't cover off Heaven the way they wanted to. Leviathan, their best chance here of this A-site retake. They've not spotted Autumn, but he won't land his shot either. The trade's out though as Udaton found one, slips back into the site as well, sees being thrown. It's going to delay that push, allows Udaton to get right back here towards Dickon, and they don't think he's around this spot, but Seto finds him anyways! And another under his belt gives Leviathan 4.
That's the guy that we were seeing in the last map. That's the guy that's been missing in this one. That is just raw individual brilliance coming out from Sato. Again, it's almost like what we were talking about with Autumn, where this guy is seemingly facing into an angle where someone is waiting for him, and he is just landing every single shot. That's going to put him one away from his ultimate as well, and as I said, 7-5. Going in with a double duelist comp into the attack, it's not a death sentence. It's just the manner in which this half has gone that has felt a little bit more scary.
Well, yeah, think about even looking at the timeline, what happens if Leviathan don't take the pistol round. We could have seen GE completely run away with this. Remember, it was 2 flawless rounds from Leviathan to start this out. A very different vibe as the rounds have gone on, but it looks like the road to recovery mounted at the last second. Patman much more aggressive this time, and he's got some backup while Autumn walks straight out. The Prowler went past him, flying under the radar, but doesn't strike the death blow. And the trades early on, Leviathan holding on for dear life, but there's a res available. It's going to be put in on the Crystal, but the trades for Leviathan, trying to keep things even. And SpikeZ's done a remarkable job. But despite it, they're going to have to fight back into this A site. TP's going to be denied. Plant found, one away from a showstopper, and utility online for GE. This is not an easy retake.
That's so annoying, because for Neon now, he's so far away. He was literally on the opposite side of the map. And although his teammate can get through that little bit quicker, he's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Autumn's positioning again. He's just been annoying throughout this map, but he doesn't land the shot. The wallbang from SpikeZ. This might just be his round. Facing off against Udaton in that 1v2 clutch. The first, a little bit too easy. SpikeZ so far ahead of his teammate and now just holding that showstopper. The last one was clicked by mistake. This one is clicked to buy time, and that time already seeming like it's too far gone. The nade is perfect, and he's there to close it out in style. A Red Bull clutch gives GE their 8th round.
8-4 at the halftime, a commanding lead for GE. They look so strong down on that stage, and closing it with a Red Bull clutch has got to leave confidence sky high. Mistakes for Leviathan have to be corrected, and they're running out of time. Bounce back has to happen after the break. Welcome back, folks. 8-4. It's a big lead for GE, making waves across a very big pond. But for Leviathan, this is where they have to climb back. A great fracture behind them, but I think they'll be keen to forget the first half of Split.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like for either side, though, like going into this one, there's real potential with either of the comps. I think for Spike Zine, even though they didn't win that final round, like having that individual step up, Sato we saw in the round before as well, like they are the two that going into this attack half need to step up. And then although Harvey, he had his big moment, I think this Sage is going to be a general irritation. It already was. Obviously, I think the one benefit for Leviathan is they might not have to watch their back quite as much for Autumn. But weeding him out of mid, it's not going to be an easy task either.
Well, as you can see by looking at the timeline, half of the rounds for Leviathan came off the pistol. Let's hope they can find it here, or the return to form is going to take quite a while and need very few errors. But a pistol also is often talked about as a coin flip. Not really where you want to have to start your comeback, but that's one way to kick it off. Great pickup by King.
That was the aggression. Thrown in immediately. Patman, he has been playing this controller incredibly aggressively all the way through the map. Autumn now needs to have another high impact play, and even the nade just trying to maybe even force them into his position. He doesn't have a whole lot of support. His teammate is trying to re-aggress it towards B main, wants to try and hold on to some control, but look how passively King is sitting. Autumn dealt with. And Crystal needs to win this fight. He's got a teammate looking to try and lock in the other player. The problem, though, is that King's won his second fight of the round.
Yeah, looking really solid when it comes to the pistols.
Last player
the same on Ecos as well. Something just activates in Leviathan. A clean start. And we could be on for the Thrifty. Yudo time. All that stands in the way. And okay, Thrifty no more, but a round win. Well, it seems assured for the attacking. That's a fake flash if ever I've seen one. Doesn't quite work out. It will be put to bed, but okay, still 3 more to go, and he's caught with a nade in hand. That's him done. King with his 4th of the round, and maybe they just wanted to give him the orb.
Yeah, you know, it's not going to be flawless, but I don't think they'll give a damn. The Sheriff of King puts him to the top of the board for his side, and honestly, all of these kills were fairly important. Like, he's being surrounded in this moment and manages to just play it perfectly with his positioning. That lifeline has now been picked up for Leviathan. And obviously, once again, there's not going to be much, if anything, invested for the defensive side. Far more reliant on their buy rounds. The fact is, a winning of a pistol in the last map might have meant we closed this in 2, which, I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad didn't happen.
Especially not after that first map. That was basically a first half.
Yeah. The problem will be, though, is if this series does slip from them, those pistols are probably going to be what becomes pretty defining. Now, for the defense at this stage, the real question is, do you actually try and go for exits? Do you try and do any damage? Or, and it looks like what they're going to do, just hide in the corner and go down to the spike.
Of course, if anybody goes pushing, you'll be happy to take a spare orb a little bit earlier. Spike seem definitely...
Oh, it's Sato for sure.
Walking forward alongside Sato. Oh, that's a double for him. A chance for a little more, and some orbs picked up indeed for Leviathan. Losses minimal. Again, they're still carrying those 2 rifles forward, which is the name of the game. And King's even going looking for another. It looks like he'll find it time dependent. No. Okay. He's backed away just at the wrong moment. But nonetheless, the climb back for Leviathan is well and truly underway. 2 rounds here off the back of the pistol, same as the first half. But this is where things slipped out of their control.
Yeah, the main question I was going to ask is how much are they actually going to put into this round? Because, as you said, it was a lot of light purchases. They didn't have too much in terms of rifles, but that normally means that you can then buy up the rifles going into the next round. So I think, yeah, it's going to be a very strong bonus. If anything, King's best weapon has been the Sheriff. So I would almost put this at a full buy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a bad shout. I saw that pistol round. Didn't seem to matter what weapon their opponents had in hand. For GE, spread across the map. They've got good slow abilities here towards the B site. The slow, obviously, being one of them. paranoia online for Patman. This flash could be devastating. It's blinded both players. It's giving Sato an easy opening and a follow-up with the wallbang. Glorious work from the Phoenix on Leviathan, and the B site secured and a plank coming in on the back of it. This is about as good a start to a bonus like this as you could ever hope for.
Yeah, solid reveal from Blows made that kill come in so much easier. And for the remaining 3, this becomes tough. Sato is literally just standing there. He's trying to bait that he's not. He's walking up instead. You expect the Phoenix to come running into your face, and instead he calls the bluff. And that's the moment where they have to save. Bring the weaponry into the next round. We spoke about it. The difference between map 1 and this one is that if you can get Sato online like he was in the second, this Leviathan squad feels like a different beast, and this round was his and his alone.
And this is what GE are going to have to deal with. Normally, when you get players and you keep them in that choke point, it's very difficult to get out of the choke point. But here, a Phoenix wall to cut off the site so they can first peek backside, see no one there. And once that flash goes through, the Neon is on you in an instant. And that's always going to be a possibility. You smoke them off, that could very well play to their advantage if they land that flash out of it. And no matter how far back you are, bet your ass Spike Scene can be on you in a second. It's a great round for Leviathan. 3 in a row now. Economy built up nicely, and GE in a pretty rough spot for this round. We should see things go 8-8.
They've at least got a couple of weapons to play with, but this feels like the round for Leviathan to potentially even up that scoreline from such a massive deficit. And already Sato with that opening pick. It's going to make things that little bit tougher. All being claimed on the other side. Will at least be something to play with, but King has caught one more. He thought that that area of the map was safe. Instead, there's not much to play with. Let's listen in to Lev.
O que vai querer fazer?
Vai
juntar com vocês só. Juntamos, vamos pra aqui B? Vou pela manhã com vocês.
Tem uma paranoia, tá? Quer splitar? Que a gente tá...
Não. Vai ligar a hora e abrir uma meia. Tá. Vai abrir aqui nós dois. Bora. Eu só te fiz o B, tá, guys? Botou B agora.
Bora. Vai abrir meia. Tô com você.
Nem vou aqui na que chamei. Fade B. Tá só, ainda se o cara taca... Ah, tá, é só trade. Guys, uma AD segura bang. AD segura bang. Vai ficar aqui.
AD segura bang, hein? Obrigado.
Guys, temos tempo, tá? Só trade aqui.
Well, you could hear the call to move back to B. That's where the finish is coming in. And Leviathan have an easy time. GE are now having to make a bit of a blind read, and their call is to move towards the A site. Wrong side of the map. So LEV find themselves an easy entry. And a 5v2. The question is, with all the damage done already, he was going to go for the orb and then the plant, but you know, they've decided to distribute that differently. Time obviously a factor there as well. But yeah, I think at this point, GE just saved those weapons. It definitely looks like that was the idea. As they sit down now, bunker down towards the spawn. As far as this round goes for Leviathan, I love the ideas. They take opening fight on B, immediately reset to that mid control, and the patience on display, knowing they're up against a bit of a mix buy and not wanting to be caught off by the numbers. Waiting that long, got them autumn just walking up. Exactly what they needed to do.
But it's very controlled. I think that's important when, considering how that last half went, they were losing like to clutch moments even all the way to the end of the half. And basically coming in, winning the pistol, it seems to put them right back into the right headspace again. And that's something that I think a lot of people underestimate, that this is an incredibly young team. Like, other than King, who's been around the block at least a little bit, you're talking about 18 and 19-year-old players. When you win the pistol second round and come out with only 4 rounds in a half, I wouldn't blame you if you came out completely mentally boomed. You look at them in that round, perfectly controlled. It looks like they're right back in the headspace, and that's why you can see that pause coming through, because that hefty lead, that momentum that was there for GE has dissipated, and I think Frost has realized, okay, now we need to stop Leviathan from running away with this second half.
Exactly, a very different vibe when it comes to this half than what we've seen so far. Even going back to Fracture, the Leviathan, it feels like they really have found the solution, and like you said, this deep in the series as well. We've seen many a team just hit that mental boom. And with Leviathan being a young team as well, that's always going to be something that's in the back of our minds. But they've proven to be able to stand that test of time, even on the international stage. This timeout from GE definitely dangerous. This is a full buy that they're going into. If they can capture even a fraction of the light that they had over on Fracture, over on Pearl, this is going to be a completely different game. But a good sign for Leviathan, especially slowing it down, dealing with Autumn's late play to try to take space back, dealing with that low buy. Looked like very few mistakes.
Also, look at the credits. Look at the position they find themselves in just 4 rounds into the second half. The lowest credits are 5,900. So it's not just that GE need a round. They need to repeat rounds to make sure their opponents can't just buy back in again. Now, the one good thing, Yudatan, 1 away from that showstopper, but just look at the change of pace. And they're gone! They're gone! They've taken a pause and immediately it's over! 10 seconds into the round and G have to save! That couldn't have gone any worse for Global Esports.
They sent 3 players to ramp, and I think there was a wall up, it didn't matter. 3 players there, and moments later, the site is open for business. A save is being called, and, well, Tom, you just seconds ago pointed out where the credits were at for Leviathan. 5.9K on the lowest player. By the way, everyone else was up a lot higher, closer to that 7 mark. Well, now I think they're going to be in a bit of a stronger spot. If they survive with all 5 players here, we're talking max money across the board. We were neck and neck, but it felt like Leviathan had the upper hand, and now they've used it to chokeslam GE. Although they're only 1 round ahead, they're miles ahead in this half.
Oh, that's so rough. Like, the fact that you even have the right read of where they're going to be and you just get slaughtered. Like, that was less than 10 seconds. That round ended basically immediately. And okay, they'll at least get to hold on to a couple of the weapons. It's not quite going to be max cash across the entirety of the board, which is a silver lining. Really isn't a silver lining. But that's insanity. And that has got to bludgeon the confidence of GE. You're in the right place at the right time, but everything went wrong.
Yeah, as far as silver linings go, I think, well, guys, at least they can't buy 3 times in a row. Probably isn't what you want to be hearing on map 3.
They probably can.
Of an opening series. Leviathan, yeah, I suppose they probably can anyways. That's one hell of a start. He is just running around. Spike Scene looks like he owns the place. He'll be shut down after 1 more, but enough should already be done. Leviathan running away with every fight. Patman may try his best, and he's got backup. But what he doesn't have is targets, because they have fled the site, running to plant on A, but they might not even get a chance with only 1 man left. GE, they put up one hell of a fight. In fact, they started this series with dominance. But things have certainly changed in this half. The final half of the series sees Leviathan hit another power level.
I feel like I'm going to end this game with egg on my face. I said that the one thing that this defensive side had was utility to delay. I don't know where it's been. I don't know where it's gone, because we are seeing opening kills come in the sub 5-second mark. It just runs straight up mid and killed 2 players. They know he's coming. It's not being subtle about it. And then it's just a domino effect.
Keep in mind, that's a team that won the first 2 rounds in the first half and got bodied from that point forward. And the vibes are immaculate. Double digits found for Leviathan. 2 rounds to the good. The economy stacked in their favor, and their opponents on a very low buy. It's even going to start with a fake to the B side. They want to drag the rotates, but GE stand in position. Stand ready to fight. Sheriffs have spotted at least 2 more. They're looking for this battle. Now Blows is down, and look what he had with him. Not only a rifle gifted, but the spikes on the floor now.
And this is a round that GE desperately need to convert. Your opponents have been winning, and they've been winning cleanly. An upset round, a spanner in the works, a knock to the confidence is imperative at this stage. If there's any way back into the map, it has to be here, it has to be now. In the past, you might talk about damage. The damage has become irrelevant. And a TP across the map. Everybody from GE is now here. Close angle, cleared. Sato already. But there come the trades, thick and fast, running it down. Only Neon standing in their way. Still hasn't been able to retrieve that spike.
30 seconds left.
And GE are not giving anything away. They know how important this round is.
They knew he was going to be spamming that as well. Hoping someone was inside the smoke, but they'll give him the spike. You have 15 seconds. Where are you going to go? Plant needs to be found soon. 10 seconds till we can't plant anymore. And well, I think at this stage, he's given up on the round. Going to take down as many as he can, but another orb gifted to Autumn, and a Mastercard Thrifty keeps GE in this game.
Yeah, as said, imperative. They needed something to break that 6-round momentum. They needed a hero to step up to the plate, and they got a couple. Both Crystal and Yudotan.
10 seconds left.
And in fact, it was almost the entirety of the squad finding a kill with those Sheriffs. They came out of absolutely nowhere, but that could just be enough to bring them back from the haze that they seem to be in. Still, Leviathan have the lead, and in case we hadn't hammered it home enough, they have enough money to buy.
Yeah, in case you missed that little talked about detail. Credit sat very high for Leviathan. Another full buy-in, presence towards the B site. Spam's looking dangerous, but that Molly forced Pac-Man out of the corner. In the meantime, though, Leviathan oh, they've almost lost Sado.
That's okay, though, because he has his ult.
Yeah.
If he finds a spot to use it, that heals him back up.
Autumn. It's a big risk. Even walking through that in the first place, but now he's got the angle to hold on to. Orb about to fade, though. It's time to fall back.
Has to leave. This time a lot more tentative. Think back to those fast-paced winning rounds. We were talking about them being done in 10 seconds. Autumn is still trying to play with fire around this smoke instead. That ult's been used on the other side. It drags the eyes of the opponents, and that was the goal. It gives them some middle control. Still, Harvey has some utility to play with. If he can get one and throw the slow, instead he's gone. Spike Scene wins that fight. Now the players within the B site are being surrounded, but it seems like they've realized back to the other side of the map they go. But can Yudotan be their demon, be the Reaper on the back of the A site?
They saw so many players on that B side. They might not expect him to be tucked in like this. We've seen it from him before, but now with 12 seconds left, one strike from Yudotan. Could have saved the day, but they'll still get the spike. Still moves to the side, and King cuts off the rotates. Pac-Man 1 against 4. The spike already planted, and he'll only get his first. 11 locked in for Leviathan. The lead with a bit more leeway to it.
Good mid-rounding again. The information fed through to the IGL to make that last-second decision, and also just the timing of where they swing onto Yudotan. He didn't really have a chance of getting more than one there. He had to commit to one of the angles. He knew there was a player behind him. Maybe he faces the other way, he gets both, but you could never know that. That's such a gamble. And that second timeout now called for Global Esports. Think back to the last half. Think to them 8-4. Winning a multitude of rounds in a row, 7 of 8 going their way, and now they sit 2 rounds down, and it's their coaching staff's last chance in regulation to save them from defeat.
Well, Leviathan's ability to keep themselves in this game has been impressive. You go back to Fracture, there were moments where it felt like it would slip away, and it's certainly, with a little bit of bias coming out of that first map, you can understand why. GE came in looking strong. They showed us that they had individuals across the board. Crystal had a life game to open up this series. Yudotan on map 2. My goodness, he was on fire. But now Leviathan have very much woken up. The lead is theirs and a chance to right the wrongs of this series so far. Well and truly within reach. They come into this round as well. Ults to play with. True on both sides. You have that pit. Person with the pit does currently have an operator, no shields. It's an unusual look, Tom. Maybe not the round we see the pit come into play. What is the idea behind this? Where's Autumn going?
I think just because it's been a game of smoke and mirrors in mid, he's going to try and just cut through that smoke with a knife. And that knife is a sniper rifle. The problem is, just look at the ruse that's almost being sold. It's been obliterated with the judge. They nerfed those, didn't they? I thought that wasn't allowed anymore. That operator gone. But this wasn't even the main game plan. This was almost just a ruse to give them space elsewhere.
They're going to drop
They're going to have to try and jump down together, but instead he's jumping towards them. 2 kills. Another halfway done. And pressure onto Pam, and he doesn't know how much control's already been taken by Leviathan. Another solid round from them. The ruse from SpikeZine sent through, and then the rest of the players were just making their way into mid. There's the pit on the other side as well. Surely there's no way back into this.
There's no way you even tried. Not when there's an AWP on the floor, not when Uniton's already 40 HP. And look at the pit, it's formed perfectly going in towards that little hallway. You're never making it out of there alive. Even if you had the numbers, Leviathan on 12, guaranteed at this point. And considering how we started this out, Tom, it really does feel like the shoe's on the other foot now. Leviathan pushing and pulling the map perfectly, finding these pacey opening pickups as well, using that Neon Judge into the vent. They have full control of the map, and thinking back to Pearl, that was the problem. It was always the other way around.
The annoyance as well, if you're on the GE side, is that call is almost certainly you're going to do that. Maybe you just get Vents control. Maybe you die and we get mid. Like, you're trying to pull people away so that we can get that control for free. Instead, he gets 2 and, well, almost a third kill.
2.5 men, yeah.
Yeah. And then the crazy thing is, well, we might call that like, oh, you throw a spanner in the works. Yep. He threw a grenade in the works. He basically blew up the whole round for GE before they even got started. Now it's a jumble sale. A Sheriff, that operator saved, a Judge in the pit, but with no shields. This is a nightmare to try and climb back from, and Leviathan are right where they want to be.
Welcome to my world.
Paranoia for Patman's going to be used to try to delay them. You can already see the pace picked up by Leviathan, and they've managed to find the trade. Neon lays his life down, but the reward is clear. Favor for Leviathan now in what could be the final round. Viper's Pit already put into play. A res online, but, well, that player's not quite reachable, and Leviathan aren't even going to let them close to the site. Already pushing deep into the spawn, looking for this fight.
Going up. So much ground held. It's something that they just can't allow to happen. The Stinger, not the weapon for this round, but I was going to say it might be worth it in that scenario. They managed to cross, but 2 players into the spawn. It's going to be an issue. They need to get rid of them, and it's all just falling apart. The res available, it's being used, but there's another player just waiting round the corner. And from the depths of defeat, Leviathan will climb back into the game. 13-9 victory. They take the series.
Well, they may be a young team, but there's a reason this team was so close to being America's #1. And they came out here today and showed us exactly that. Fracture and split. A recovery that I wasn't sure we were going to see. No. Map 1 was devastation. Owner came out on the stage and he said, the boys were nervous, but it's fine. The series is just starting. And look at them now. Who would have believed him?
It's really impressive. I think GE fought tooth and nail that first map, dominant, and the second map very easily could have been theirs, but that's the thing that's so impressive. The resilience of such a young team. King, the piece that has survived for so long, with 4 new superstars alongside him, and honestly, I don't know how far this team can go, but if this match has proved anything, it's that just because you win a map, it doesn't mean they're out of the game.